right. ETM Hotep, peace, peace, peace. This is your brother Wujau, Medew Maat, and I hope that I could be heard. Usually, as I start off, I like to get a confirmation that I could be heard loud and clear. So I'm checking the chat out. Peace to everyone in the chat, or all 1,700 of you. But if someone could just confirm for me in the chat that you can hear me loud and clear, and then we can get started with tonight's live stream. All right, the Seshew Ma'ani Medew Netcher is here. All right. So, okay. I think Hits says all clear. Zane, what up, Cleveland? Yep, loud and clear. All right. So, peace. Shout out to Zane, Sister Safa, Kevin MC Chill. Who else we have? Planet Wells. All right, so I'm not going to give shout outs to everybody all night. Again, this is your brother Wujau Menib Eri Ma'at, and I am accompanied by Senet Emykhet Aku Kenshai Akinyi. Emykhet, you want to greet everyone?
Yes. Hotep, Hotepu, Abet E. Glad to be here once again after a long time, and yeah, let's get it on.
All right. I'm just going to make my picture big again as far as the title of this live stream. So again, Hotep, everyone, peace and greetings. So today is Wednesday, May 15th. I always like to timestamp the videos. And so tonight's video or live is titled Orientation, Welcoming the Newcomers to the Channel. So that's pretty straightforward. We decided to do this as an orientation and welcome, any newcomers to our channel because I took a hiatus, a long break from social media, and I did a live stream the other night for the first time in a good while. And last live stream, was it yesterday or the day before? I was basically giving my opinion of the state of the conscious community, and I know that my opinion may not be shared by a few people, and then it is shared by quite a few people. I got some feedback from the last live stream we just did, and it's been, pretty much 50-50 or a little bit more in favor of people are actually agreeing with my sentiment. But we decided to do this live now because of that long break, and the break has been almost 2 years. I know it's definitely been over a year and a half, maybe not quite 2 years, but we've taken a break. I've taken a break and stepped back, and now we're here. And coming here, I've tried to spend the last week, maybe 2 weeks now, to catch up and to watch, bits and pieces of different videos over the past 2 years that I basically missed. Because when I say I took a break, I really completely took a break. I didn't watch any YouTube videos associated with the conscious community. I didn't even log into my Facebook account or anything. So when I say I took a break, I really mean it. And so being here now, I'm trying to play catch up a little bit just to kind of see what the temperature is in the conscious community. And so the previous live, I just expressed what I've seen so far, and I'm just definitely disappointed. But tonight is not about that. Tonight is an orientation because during those 2 years, there have been people, obviously there are people who may not be familiar with us, may not have ever even heard of the Seshew Mani Medew Netcher, never heard of myself, Wujau, Emykhet, or anybody or anything associated with the Seshew. But they may be curious or interested in ancient Egyptian culture and language, and that's exactly what we deal with. And so just want to kind of give an orientation, a summary about the Seshew, about myself, and what we do, what we've done, and just welcome anybody who's new to us, who's new to the channel, who's new to me. Welcome. Um, I'm open. I'm the easiest person, easygoing person. Uh, very very approachable, etc. etc. So wanted to do that. Um, and another reason why I want to welcome anybody new and kind of give a summary tonight is because in a couple of the videos that I've seen over the 2 years in me, trying to catch up, I've seen people that will, a few instances where people will try to address me or the Seshew as a whole, and in a negative way. And but I noticed that those people that did that or do that, they don't direct people to come to our channel to check things out for themselves or to contact me or whatever. So it's very very limited and biased. So I would just recommend and suggest for anyone that may have heard through the grapevine about the Seshew or about anything that I've done, anything that I've said, or whatever the case is, to go directly, skip the middleman, come directly to us, come directly to the channel, peruse the channel, which I'm gonna briefly go over tonight, and or contact me or whatever the case is. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. All right. So anyway, welcome again. All right, and just to check in, Emykhet, have anything to open up to?
Yeah, I have a lot. I don't know. I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I know you said that you are taking your break and all that, and I actually did take a break as well. But just to emphasize on one thing, even during the break, didn't mean that we were not active. Doing Sesh Medew Netcher stuff. I know, like initially, even during the break, we had the book club, which most people did not. We did advertise before we, um, took a break from the channel. So we had the book club, which we continued with. There's a lot that has been going on even during that break time over at Sabre University. So we had the book club where all those are things that we continued with doing privately. So we did go over two books specifically. One we talked about here on the channel, and the next one, which is a heavy, heavy, heavy read, and I'm actually very, very proud of the members that we had in the book club, because those members included new students in Wujao's class that was still going through the beginners class, but were able to just hold it down and just go through this book. Is the Administration of Ancient Egypt, is over 1,000 pages, and it's very hectic a read, and that's something that we've always wanted to read for a long time, because just understanding the whole administration of ancient Egypt is very, very, very crucial. So we had people who were still in the beginners class at the time, and they really, really, really held it down. It was very impressive. So we did go through the whole book, finish the whole book, met weekly and things of that nature. And even those people also were able to present stuff that they read through the book, including the Sesh Netcher stuff. So like I said, I'm actually very, very impressed with the with the guys that we had in the book club. We also continue, and we still continue to meet every week and go through text. So I actually have been very, very active, covering in for Wujawa as well on a teaching position. So that's been a great, great, great experience for me, and also just working with those people. And I can say that even coming back is crazy, because um, sometimes when you're involved with something, you really don't get to see that. When you don't pull back and have like a bird's eye view, you don't really appreciate what's going on. So even me being with the those individuals in the class, these are people who are have just finished the beginners class recently. Just seeing them doing what they do and transliterate and translate. We actually have gone through a papyrus as well, with this group. So I'm telling you, these guys have done a lot within this short period, and then to actually come back and then see within this short period what everybody else that we left out discussing Kemet, where they have been, from when I left and then now. It wasn't a lot of progress, and but then with us, it's like that. With this other group of people, it's like crazy progress. And that's why I think even when Wujao says he's very disappointed, it is actually true, because we can A/B stuff. So I can compare this group that we have and the progress they've made within that short break, and then coming back to the social media and things like that, and then seeing any type of progress that the other people who put themselves in this kind of position, high positions and things like that, looking at the progress that they've made, and it's like zero to none. It's crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in there. But there's still a lot I could go over, but I'll let you finish what you're finishing, and then I'll discuss more. But yeah, I'm telling you, there's a group of people that are gonna knock your socks off once they get back, or when they get here on the Seshew channel. You'll see a lot that has been going on, and that's really great.
All right. All right. So I will be monitoring the chat, and I will be posting the link. So you all stick around, and appreciate you all hanging out with us tonight for a bit. I will be posting a link, and anyone can jump on the panel, and voice your opinion, voice your thoughts. Have we been missed? Or do you want to you all want us to stay out the way? And I will gladly stay out of the ratchet, messy stuff. So you won't have any pushback from me on that. But anyway, I just want to dive into a little bit about what we do and who we are. And I've done a presentation about this on our channel in a video, and I'm going to screen share our YouTube channel and just kind of scroll through the various different videos that we have. I'm not going to click on any of them, but just kind of scroll through the titles. And, this is more so for people who are not familiar with us, who may be watching right now. Again, so tonight's show is about welcoming the newcomers to our channel. And if you are, if you're not a newcomer, and you've been hanging with us for a good while, then hey, this is all a refresher. It's a refresher for everybody, because like I said, I took a hiatus and now we're here again. And so we're going to keep it pushing. We're going to make progress actually happen. All right. So I'm just going to make my screen big here, and hopefully you all will be able to see. So first, let's start with what is the Seshew Mighty Meadow Netcher? A lot of time in the past, people have asked me, quite a few people asked me, why the name Seshew Mighty Meadow Netcher? Now the YouTube channel just says the Seshew, but we had the whole title spelled out, but it's hard for some people to pronounce, and people will butcher it, the Sashu or whatever. People just said the Seshew or the Seshew or the Sesh anyway, so we just shortened it to the Seshew. But the full name of our collective is the Seshew Ma'ani Meadow Netcher. So what is it? Who are we, and what are we about? As you all probably have seen on the channel, if you visit the channel, or even the most recent live we just did, and this one, you see this emblem, this logo. So this is our logo, Seshew Mighty Meadow Netcher, with a squatting or kneeling scribe writing there, and you see the glyphs around there. You have the glyph. I don't know if you all can see my cursor. Can y'all see my cursor?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see it? Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. I don't have to use my arrows anymore. So yeah, so you see the Sesh glyph. So all these are, symbols and aesthetic and artistic expressions dealing with Sesh or writing. Now, for those who don't know, the word Seshew is the plural for the word Sesh, which means to write. As a verb, it means to scribe or to write. And the Seshew is simply scribes. And so the word ma'a is the masculine singular form of the more popular word ma'at. Everybody's familiar with ma'at. All right. Ma'a is the masculine singular form of that. And it means truth or real and even loyal. Something that is loyal to something, it's true to it and it's real. Okay. It's, we would say other synonyms like, oh, it's solid, it's real. And as I don't know what generation do we call the young generation now? I know we have Gen Z, Generation X. What's the
Yeah, I think it's
generation
Gen Z,
that
in it.
Gen Z? Okay,
Yeah.
somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to offend anybody, but as Gen Z generation would say, what they say, on God. I hear a lot of the young generation say, on God, on God. That means for true, for true. Anyway, my means true, real, loyal, and then ni is the is a nisbi possessive, so it's of, and then Medew Netcher, divine words. So our name means, in short, the loyal scribes of divine words, of the divine words, or the true scribes of the divine words. All right, but loyal starting out because we're loyal to this endeavor of learning to read and write Sesh Medew Netcher. All right. And when I say read, it also means to comprehend. I think people forget that implicit in reading is comprehension. We just don't say reading comprehension. We just say read. So we take this serious, and our focus have been on reading and writing Sesh Medew Netcher for a very important purpose, because if you're going to study or investigate any culture that is not your native culture that you were born and raised in, you must study or investigate that new culture through its language. That's the only way that you're going to be able to become intimate with any culture that's not your native culture. And the reason being is that culture captures the psyche of the people of said culture. What they do, how they saw everything, their worldview and everything. Language is the DNA of culture. So when you want to study the culture, you have to go by way of the language, because that's the natural tape drive or hard disk of the psyche of the people of that particular culture and everything about it. All right. And this is understood by people in the field of different fields of anthropology who study human cultures and things like that. So this is known. So I'm just passing it on. And so if you're interested in ancient Egypt, Tawi or Kemet, whatever name that you refer to it as, you have to approach it through the language. And so the Seshew Mani Medew Netcher, we have dedicated and focused ourselves on learning the language and also teaching it. All right. So anyway, that's our logo. Here's another rendition of it. Y'all may have seen this pop up here and there. Here's another one, Scribal Institution. We want to, form institutions to, gather people of like minds to come and, on the same page and do this work as well. Also, I have here is a book that we wrote as a collective. The title of this book is Has the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Writing System Been Deciphered? A Rebuttal to Walter Williams. Now, for those of you who are brand new to us, brand new to the channel, you may have heard about this book, or I'm sure you probably heard about quite a few years back. There was a controversial topic of whether the Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system been deciphered or not. It was spearheaded by two brothers, Sarah Sutan Seti and Young Pharaoh at the time. And they were influenced by Professor Walter Williams. And their claims was that the Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system has never been deciphered. And so the language being our main focus, and this is what we do, we stepped up and stepped in to address that issue. And so there was a debate that was set up. It was a big thing around it, but it never took place. The brothers that I mentioned, Sarasun Seti and Young Pharaoh, at the last minute they backed out of the debate on that specific topic. We decided to write a book about it because we used that all of the controversy as a teaching moment so that people can learn that, one, it was deciphered, and then how it was deciphered, and then how the writing system works. So this was a good opportunity for us to do that, and that's exactly what we did. So this book is available. It's available on Amazon. So if you don't have it, shame on you. And you knew about it, shame on you. But if you didn't know about it, now you do. And make sure you get yourself a copy of it, and you will definitely benefit. And we're available for questions. You read something you don't understand, or it may conflict with something that you have previously learned elsewhere, whatever the case is. Hey, you can contact us and we can build on it. All right. What else? I'm just basically kind of going through different slides I had on like a presentation I did about us as a Seshew long ago. So this is my first time looking at these slides in years. Okay, so pardon me for I'll probably be skipping around a bit. Okay, so this slide here is just a breakdown of the names. So you see the glyphs at the top, Seshew, Ma'ani, Medew, Netcher at the top here. And so break down each of the words. So we have Seshew, which is scribes. Ma'a, as I said, loyal, true, or real. Ni is of, which is this water ripple, as it's called, this glyph here. Then we have Medew, and then we have Netcher. The word Medew, or different people pronounce it differently, but Medew is words or communication in general. And then Netcher, a lot of people translate Netcher as God, but it can also be translated as divine. So we're talking about divine words. Some people say Medew Netcher translates as God's words, but that gets controversial, and you can easily go off on a tangent about God. Which God? Who's God? Is this Christian God? Is only one God? You get into the God debates about that, but people don't seem to have a problem with divine. So the loyal or true scribes of divine words. All right, so that's the breakdown of that. Now, our name itself is not something that we just pulled out of the sky and made it up. Just putting some Egyptian words together. The name is actually attested in the culture, in Egyptian writings. All right, and so here on the screen, I am showing exactly where our name is found in Egyptian text. So I'll just read it here. It says, therefore the name Seshew Ma'ani Medew Netcher expresses the meaning loyal or true scribes of divine words. The inspiration of the name comes from the 5th line of the stellar inscription of the 13th dynasty king Neferhotep from Abydos. And here's the excerpt. So here is the Seshew Medew Netcher in the middle of the screen, and below it is a transliteration, okay, with the line numbers, because the line numbers you probably can't see it for each row. All right, but it comes specifically from the 5th row here. And so you see the beginning of the 5th row, it says Seshew Ma'ani Medew Netcher Herutep. And so in the 5th line, you can see it in the glyphs here. All right. So I'm just making a reference to you all. I'm not making an attempt to teach class tonight about the language specifically, unless somebody come on the panel and ask some questions. But that's where it is in the 5th line. All right. So here is the translation of all of the text, rows or lines 1 through 12. And I'll just read it so you can get some context of when this phrase was used and attested by the indigenous people of ancient Egypt. So I'll read it. In regnal year 2, under the majesty of Heru, founder of the 2 lands, he of the 2 ladies, revealing the truth, falcon of gold, lasting of love, king of upper and lower Egypt, Ka Sekem Ra, son of Ra Neferhotep, born to the king's mother Kimi, granted life, stability, and dominion like Ra forever. I'm gonna pause right there for a second. I don't know if you all, how familiar you all are with, reading a lot of different ancient Egyptian texts, but I'm gonna tell you, whenever the king's name is mentioned like this, you see how lofty they make it. They make it sound like it's real royal and real regal. It's like if you were to read this, imagine you walking into Madison Square Gardens or a huge stadium that's made for a ceremony, and you're in the crowd, and all the seats are filled, the bleachers are filled, and then here comes the king walking in. But as the king, or right before the king walks in, the king is being announced. Somebody is introducing the king to the crowd, and this is what they would, something like, it sounds like that's what something they would say. Regnal year 2, under the majesty of Heru, founder of the two lands, he of the two ladies, revealing the truth, falcon of gold, lasting of love, king of upper and lower Egypt, Ka Sekem Ra, son of Ra Neferhotep, born to the king's mother Kimi, granted life, stability, and dominion like Ra forever. You can kind of hear that being announced, and then the king walks in. Anyway, I just thought to share that with y'all. We're at 3. The appearance of the king the appearance of the king upon the Heru throne in the palace exalted of beauty. His Majesty said to the nobles and the companions who were in his company, and here's line 5, the scribes loyal to hieroglyphs and those who were in charge of all confidential matters. My heart wishes to see the primal writings of Atum. Unroll for me the great inventory. Let me know the God is the God in his essence and the Ennead in its nature, that I may offer to them divine offerings and offer breads upon the altars, so that I might know the God in his forms, that I might fashion him according to his former state. Now, without the rest of the context of this text, what this is simply saying is the king is surrounded by his inner circle of people, a couple of inner circle of his people, the scribes being in his presence, and he's telling the scribes to consult the writings, go to the library and consult the writings and research for me, and come back and let me know how I can repair and restore the deities, because it says I may fashion him according to his former state. In the rest of the context, the king was trying to restore the different statues of the deities, or this particular deity. All right. So anyway, just giving you some context for our name there. What do we have here? And it's just I guess a quick paragraph about us. It says, we're a membership of like-minded individuals with aspirations of being true, loyal scribes of divine words. We embrace the importance of learning the language of Kemet as a means to enter the world of ancient Kemet and have a meeting of the minds with the people responsible for it. We are informed by Dr. Theophilo Benga that, quote, in order for us to have a deep and exciting dialogue with Kemet, it is necessary for us to master the Egyptian language. And that's a famous quote. Well, that's a quote of Dr. Theophilo Benga that I try to make famous and advocate, because that is just so on point and in alignment with our stance and what we do and our understanding. In order to understand Egyptian culture, you have to engage the language. All right. Next, it says, while acknowledging the vast greatness of Kemet and its contributions to the world, we seek to know what made the people of Kemet great. And see, that's what a lot of people, I feel, are missing. especially in what I'm seeing now that we have, now that we're here again after taking this long break. It's, I expressed myself, in the previous live, but it's very, very disappointing to see the bickering back and forth over a topic that is very, very shallow and really shouldn't even happen at all. But no one's making progress to actually get to know the genius of the people of ancient Egypt. What made them so great? Why and how did they do what they do? What made up their mentality? What were the ingredients of their minds that allowed them to, you know, first of all, be united in the first place, stay united with a couple of, speed bumps in the way, to have the continuity that, ancient Egypt is the longest continuous civilization that we know of, with a few bumps and bruises in there, but, over 3,000 years long, a long stretch. Building the pyramids, the temples, contributing so much to the ancient world and even contemporary world today. There's a lot of things that ancient Egypt is responsible for, that a lot of people are familiar with. So so that's our interest. What made the people so great? To continue, the ingredients of such genius. So basically, that's what I'm saying. The ingredients of the genius. This knowledge is an invaluable resource in establishing a solid foundation on which we can build solutions in the best interest of African people for the challenges of today's society. All right. So that's our sentiment. Because a lot of people ask me, why Egypt? Why do I teach the language? Why do I even care about Egypt? Egypt is over in West Africa. Ancient Egypt is dead. It's not putting money in my pocket, food on my table. Why? And I understand why people ask that question, but the answer, or the explanation is very, very easy and clear, and an important one. And it's really, you have to kind of educate people on. I think a lot of people take ancient Egypt for granted, not kind of by default, which is why a question like that would be asked in the first place. But there's a lot of jewels and nuggets in studying ancient Egypt. All right, even though it's not here today. What else do we have? Then I talk about, us as a group, our membership in the group. Membership has its privileges. It's open to individuals who have shown suitable proficiency at a beginner's level by successfully passing a certification exam. The benefits include scholastic camaraderie, tutoring, access to vast research material and resources, consistent practice and execution of translating primary text, opportunities to advance in grammar and linguistics, to participate in the revival of speech communities. So these are some of the goals and activities that we are engaged in and have been engaged in. All right. What else do I have here? Here are some should be familiar people in this space. So you have Dr. Vakedi Amin in the top left. You have Jean-Claude Mboli, Dr. Theophilo Benga. You have Kamal Rashid. You have Obadeli Kambon. And you have here Dr. Mario Beatty. All right, just to show you a few people who are in this space that you may or may not recognize. You should, though. If you don't, shame on you. Just become familiar with all of those people. Now, I just want to share something else that we have, from day one, we have been promoting and advocating, and to show the level of organization that we have and intent that we have. We don't do things just random and just kind of willy-nilly. All right, things are planned out and structured. I'm very, very hard on structure. Anybody knows me uh, you ask them, they'll tell you. I'm very hard on structure and so on. So what I created was what I call a pyramidal curriculum, and I'm using the symbolisms or ancient Egypt's concepts to express this pyramidal curriculum. And so I'll just explain it real quick. So as you can see on the screen, there's a pyramid, and then it's broken into three pieces: the foundation, the middle piece, and then the capstone or the top piece. So you start at the bottom and you work your way up. So the bottom piece is referred to in the ancient Egyptian language as Ankhet. Because there are three, they represent the three seasons that the Egyptians were familiar with: Ankhet, Peret, and Shemu. Ankhet being the first season is the season of the flooding or the inundation. All right, if you're not familiar with that, it's called Ankhet. That's when the Nile flooded. So, and that's fitting for the level one. So this is what I consider level one. And each level is broken into three stages. So level one, stage one, which is the first of the first. At this level, part of the curriculum, we deal with laying a foundation in Rani Kemet. And by the way, Rani Kemet is a word that means the language of ancient Egypt. It comes from, you break the word down into Ra, which is literally the mouth, the word for mouth. And then Ni is the word of. And then Kemet is obviously ancient Egypt. So literally it's saying the mouth of Kemet. But we know that places don't talk. So it's a figurative way of saying the language. All right. So Rani Kemet. So you'll hear me use this term all the time. Rani Kemet. That's the spoken language. That's the actual language that people spoke. And then Sesh, Medew, Netcher is the writing system. That's what people call hieroglyphs. All right. So stage one is all about laying a foundation in the language and the writing system. Okay. The language and the writing system at a basic level, the foundation. Stage two, but you're still in level one, is Rani Kemet grammar and penmanship. So when you come to stage two, we focus on the grammar of the language. And I want to say this: you can't claim to know a language until you learn its grammar. All right? And grammar consists of morphology and syntax. And some people will say morphosyntax instead of grammar. But stage two is where we focus on that. And this is where we learn the grammar, ins and outs, and then penmanship, how to write it. All right? So that's stage two. Stage three is laying a foundation in historical comparative linguistics. And people have asked me in the past, well, what's that about? Like, why do we have to deal with that if we just want to study ancient Egypt? And the short answer is because the ancient Egyptian language is considered a dead language. And in order to understand the culture, you have to go through the language to get there. Then gaining the tools, the appropriate tools of historical that are found within historical comparative linguistics and that discipline, it allows you to compare the Egyptian language with related African languages, other African languages that are related to it. And these languages are living languages that are spoken today. So it gives us insight to further insight into the meanings of a lot of Egyptian words, and it reduces the obscurity of those words and concepts and things like that. So it's very important. All right. So that's stage three of level one. All right. So once you complete stage three, you have completed level one, and that's the season of Ankhet, inundation. Then you move on up to the season of Peret. The word Peret itself means to come forth, to emerge. And so that's the second season to the ancient Egyptians. This is when the plants, after the waters flood and they planted the seeds, the plants started to grow and emerge. This is the season of emergence, where the Everything starts sprouting and growing. So we consider this level 2, and we have 3 stages. So stage 1 of level 2 is we focus on the recovery of the historical pronunciations of the words. Now, the reason why that's important, or that's even something that we focus on, is because, in case you don't know, all of the Egyptian words that you hear me say, anybody say on YouTube, scholars say, experts say, all these pronunciations are never meant to imply that these are historically accurate pronunciations, as if the ancient Egyptians pronounced these words this way. Okay? So what scholars have done in early Egyptology, they created a system of vocalizing Egyptian words and kind of standardized it, and basically take the consonants that we can see in the writing system and placed an E in between all of them. So like the word Kemet, we say Kemet, K-E-M-T, M-E-T. But in the glyphs, all you see is K-M-T, consonants. But no vocal language is without vowels. But in the writing system, you can omit vowels, and the ancient Egyptian writing system did not document the vowels. All right? The vowels are not documented, at least not until the onset of Coptic, much, much later. All right? And even then, a lot of things change, which is why we can't easily just go to Coptic and retrofit it backwards. It's not that easy. I wish it was, but it's not. All right, so anyway, stage 1 is recovery of the historical pronunciation. And you have to use historical comparative linguistics to find cognates in living African related languages to ascertain as close as possible what the ancient Egyptian word would have sounded like. And so you see how that connects there. And then from there you go to stage 2. You start to collect all the data from stage 1, and now you can start to develop speech communities and start to revive the speech of ancient Egyptian words and the language itself. Okay, so and that part is no different than what today's Jewish community did back in 1947, 1948, when the United Nations granted the Jewish population the state of Israel. One of the first things that they did as a national endeavor was to revive the Hebrew language. Okay, and now as of today, you have generation after generation of mother tongue first language Hebrew speakers among the Jewish population and everything. All right, so that's what stage 2 essentially would be mimicking and doing. Then you go to stage 3, recovering the realities behind figurative speech. Now that's a very, very, very important stage. And basically, in a nutshell, what that means is that you'll come to discover that ancient societies, especially literate ones that write, even oral traditions, but in this case, Egypt they documented everything, right? But they were users of figurative expressions. They used that heavily, and so figurative expressions is not literal; it's figurative, and then it's different types of figurative expressions, from metaphor, simile, various different tropes, and things like that. So, and symbolisms, and a symbol stands in for some reality. The symbol is not the reality itself; it just stands in for it. So, stage 3, the focus there is to recover those realities behind the figurative expressions. All right, so that's that. And then you go up to level 3, which is Shemu, which is harvest. Now, harvest is what you reaping what you sowed in the previous thing. So now you're gonna reward yourself or reap it. So that's what level 3 is. So level 3 is about application, utilizing, using, and then executing, living something. So anything that you've learned from the culture that is applicable because remember, ancient Egypt is old. It's ancient. It's dead. It's gone. So there's a lot of things that the ancient Egyptians did that just simply does not apply to us, to anyone in living in the world today. But then there are a lot of things that do, especially on the side of the psychology, the psychological side of things, and systems and structure and things like that. But anyway, level three is about assessing all of that and then applying, utilizing, executing whatever it is that you are able to, if anything at all. And that's what level three is about. So anyway, that's a quick summary or breakdown of this pyramidal curriculum. And this is our curriculum. This is what we are about. This is what the Seshew is about. This is what I am about. And so, kind of makes sense of my stance on things if you are familiar with me or have seen videos that I'm in and whatnot. All right. So that's pretty much it about what we're about. And I don't want to go on and on and on and on and on. I think that's enough to kind of give you all a quick peek into what things are about. Um, this word here on the screen is wahemesut, which breaks down simply as the Renaissance. And, we use this word to express or advocate a renaissance when it comes to this process that I just explained, this whole curriculum. You know, it's literally it means to be, birth again, rebirths, to birth again, or many births and things like that. So it's like to kind of what they say, go into a cocoon and come out a butterfly type of thing, renaissance. And so that's what this process kind of is in a nutshell, in summary. All right. So like I said, I don't want to go on and be and bore everyone, but I think it's important for everybody to who's new, who coming across us for the first time, to kind of let you know what we're about. Emykhet, do you have any input or anything?
Yeah, why not? While you were showing that curriculum, I was just thinking that imagine looking at that and just imagine the amount of time and the amount of work and people, skilled people, are required to manifest everything that you see on that curriculum. Now imagine that being put together. You have this blueprint, and then somebody comes and asks you, "When are you going to debate person X on?" Was there slavery in ancient Egypt, or things like black people? The Kemet means land of the black people, all that kind of stuff. So that's why you see there's a lot of frustration because we really, there's a lot of work to do, and there's even a lot to within just this study field. There's a lot to uncover for and that's why for us as the Seshew, like the whole thing came out of needing that proficiency in the language for us to be able to pierce through and not just for us but for everybody else be able to share. And I don't know how many people remember or has have been with the Seshew for the longest. Because if you go to our videos, you'll see the first video that we had. I'm thinking it's probably 80 years old. I'm not sure, but that was the very first video that we had. But even before having anything on the Seshew channel, we worked in the background, and we always work in the background, and there's a reason for that, because some people, I can't speak for them, but that's how it appears. Some people get into this kind of stuff just for very shallow things. For us, it has always been more. When we started, we worked in the background for a long time. We freestyled among ourselves as peers, a meeting almost like every day, and just working on different texts, learning from each other, way before we even had our first video that you see on this channel, I think 8 years ago. And it's such a long time back then. you know there wasn't a lot of people that were actually online like you see now. And even for us meeting, we were still meeting in Google Hangouts. So this is back in the day when we still had Google Hangouts. And that's where we used to meet and just make sure that we are tight, we learn everything as good as possible. And I remember the first time when Wujao told us about sharing stuff online with people, doing this on YouTube. And we were like, obviously like the freestyle, and coming in and freestyling, that is reading the inscriptions of the dome. And for us, it was like, what are those things like, freestyling is like putting you on a hot seat. So you don't know what text you're going to read, but you're going to have to read it, and you're going to do it in front of people, and that was a little bit hectic. I remember for me, it was very hectic because, first of all, nobody wants to make mistakes, in front of an audience, so that's one of the things that I think it was very, very genius for Ujao to even put us, because it actually helps you in so many ways. So I would say that for the first, it was like it helps mold good character, because what I've seen, so and speaking of good character, I don't know if you mentioned it, but the requirements for being on a Seshew was always is or has always been good character and the proficiency in the language, at the beginner's level at least. So good character. Nobody was even talking about good character until we came out, and that kind of rubbed people the wrong way, because everybody likes to act up and act a fool online. But we came in and we had to present good character. And also just be as transparent as possible. Let people see your weak side. Like, be able to say that you don't know. If you don't know something, there's nothing wrong with saying you don't know. You don't always have to be the best, in front of people, or never admitting when you're wrong. So when we started freestyling, is and to date, nobody has even ever, like, we're the only people who actually came out freestyling and continued to date freestyling, reading off the dome, reading the ancient Egyptian inscriptions of the dome. And it helped us a lot. And also, the other reason why even we did that was because we wanted to show people that it can be done. I think Wujao showed you that on the screen. On all our shows, we always started off letting people know that this thing can be done. We can, you can get to a point where you don't know from point zero, start learning, and then get to a point where you can read. And for everybody who followed us, they saw that, because you've seen how far we've grown. Like me reading the Sesh Netcher, everybody, if you go through the videos, you'll see my journey of learning and making mistakes, and then and getting better and better to a point where we are here, and we're still learning. So that was one of the things. And why a lot of people even gravitated to our channel, because we wanted to not just talk about ancient Egypt and then talk about the shallow stuff as well, or even talk about things that we don't know. We just wanted to make sure that people can see that you need to learn this language, and we are learning this language, and then you walk that journey with us. So you know and even doing that, I think one of the things that I ended up noticing with this with our channel, which was different from the other channels, is that people who actually were watching our channel got good at reading Sesh Netcher. So our audience are actually very, very, very skilled people. Like, you can't fool the main Seshu audience. Those are people that you really can't tell them any kind of thing about ancient Egypt. That just doesn't make sense.
You can't
So
you can't TLA them to death.
no. And see, listen, that's what I'm saying. Like like, y'all seen us freestyle, like, freestyle, what it means is like, we're not using the dictionary, you know so we had the freestyle to let you know that this is a time where it's like, you have to sharpen your skills, and that's the best way. We also had the divine words Wednesdays, where now we actually slow it down, because over here we like to slow cook. There's no microwaving. So we strategically did those shows for those purposes, where we are learning and our audience is learning with us, because we need um, with if we want to succeed with the curriculum that Wujao just showed you. It's not just the shoe and when another team from the other side and another team from the other side being good at this. Is a lot of people, even the audience that we gotta share our information with, have to be very skilled, have to be very logical as well. Even if you don't know the language, you have to be a logically thinking person. And that's the one thing that is very, very unique about our audience. Like, you can't pull that stuff under, under the rug with, like with the Seshew audience. So our audience has grown with us, and we maintain that to date. And so like we said, the Freestyle Wednesdays off the dome, no dictionaries, no TLAs or whatever it is, like, because that's how you're supposed to read. Like,
So
nobody walks
speaking
around with a dictionary.
speaking of, right?
Mhm.
Oh, I want to remind everyone. I'm gonna post a link to open the panel so that anyone who's interested in coming on and let us know, kind of fill us in on what's been going on, I guess, but not so much that was really for our last live show, but if you want to share your what you would like to see these studies go, like what progress do you want to see, kind of give us some insight on that, and plus give us some topic suggestions. When we go live, we want to anything that you all are curious about, let us know, because we'll something that we may already know or we've already covered, we'll do presentations on it or at least have a discussion about it. And if we don't know, it may be worth our while to go investigate, and then we, collectively we can walk that walk. All right. So definitely, I'm gonna put the link in the chat in a few minutes. But Emykhet, having said what you said, right? Let me blow my screen back up. I am going to put you on the spot.
What?
I'm gonna put Emykhet in the hot seat. All right, this is live, y'all. Y'all are seeing this right live. She didn't know this was coming at all. I didn't even know. This is like really off the cuff. So, what this is on the screen is the offering formula, and this is the offering formula that we would start all of our class sessions on, like in class. And I got that from Dr. Riketi Amen to do that. I do it in respect and honor of what Dr. Riketi Amen would do in her classes. And by the way, that's something I forgot to mention as far as about myself, because a lot of people have asked me. I've seen recently, since our live, and then people have inboxed me or just curious. It's nothing negative, but people have asked me, where did I learn? How did I learn? And where did I learn? About the Egyptian language and everything. And I've told this story many, many times, and I understand that they're just new people who are coming across me for the first time and coming across the Seshew for the first time. So I don't mind repeating it, but I learned originally on my own. Then I took a class and registered in a class under Dr. Riketi Amen, and this is a long time ago. I took all of Dr. Riketi Amen's classes from the bottom all the way to the top a long time ago. This is before Dr. Riketi Amen had a dedicated website. This is before Zoom. This is before Google Hangouts and all these different things. We used to have class over the phone. You understand? We used to be on a conference call on the phone with other people who were taking the class, at least at different periods or the different stages and levels of the classes and things like that over the phone. So Dr. Riketi Amen would email the lesson ahead of time, maybe a day or whatever ahead of time, and then we scheduled the conference call, and then we sit there and we go at it, over the phone, and have us looking at what was sent and stuff like that. So you can imagine how difficult it is to teach something like this without it being interactive, like in a Zoom setting, So that's how far back I go with her, and I went through all that, aced it all. Matter of fact, because I taught myself ahead of time, before enrolling in her classes, I had to really in the classes I had to really kind of be quiet about a lot of things because I didn't want to make it seem like I knew everything or whatever, and then not give other people a chance to answer questions and do this and that and whatnot. So that's things that I went through. But anyway, long story short, Dr. Rikede Amin is my formal teacher. So that's where my lineage, my knowledge lineage comes out of. And Dr. Rikede Amin, y'all can look her up. She's the matron teacher of a lot of people that you may be familiar with. You have Mfundishi, you have Baba Heru, you have Dr. Mario Beatty in there. A lot of people in ASCAC have learned from Dr. Rikede Amin, because she was part of ASCAC. She's part of the whole movement. And definitely look her up. I mean, I don't want to do her a disservice by truncating all of her achievements and things like that. But she also worked with Sheikh Anta Diop in terms of, I think she even translated some of his works that I'm not sure ever got formally published by the publishing companies and things like that. Also, she spearheaded a calendar project to really, really focus and study on Egyptian timekeeping and calendars and things like that. And I've worked with her on that, and I have a long-standing relationship. All right, so just want to kind of let you all know about that because people have been asking me, so I wanted to mention that. Anyway, I think I've given Emykhet enough time to look at the screen, put her on the spot. So this is something we used to recite. We used to recite this when we started our classes, and even when we went live, we had Freestyle Fridays every Friday for a year, like 52 weeks in a year, 52 Fridays. We were live. People would send us pictures, and we would just pull it up. No books. When we say freestyle, we meant freestyle. No dictionaries, no TLA, no Wordbuck, no Budge dictionary, no Vygus, nothing. We used to go straight from the dome, and that was fun, and it kept you sharp, and it keeps you humble because you either know or you don't. So we used to do that on Friday, Wednesday, Divine Words Wednesdays. That's when we used to slow things down and give presentations. So 2 times a week, we were going strong, and we stopped. We just stopped. So now we want to pick that back up. Anyway, Emykhet. So
Before I read, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh no. I was gonna say,
No.
when now let me ask anybody in the chat who's not new or whatever. I know you all familiar with it, and I know I can't hear you typing in the chat, so I'm just gonna put it on Emykhet. So Emykhet is gonna represent everybody right now. So Emykhet, let's hit. Well, what I don't want you to translate it.
Mm.
I want you to recite
Transliterate, recite. The trans. Okay.
recite it in Egyptology speak,
Speak.
what we call
Okay.
Egyptology speak. Okay, so whenever you're ready, just go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna go for it, but I was just gonna say something real quick when you talked about we did the Freestyle Wednesdays and then the Divine Wednesdays. Those were 2 shows, and we did them twice a week. I am just going to be a little bit braggadocious about myself and say that when we were doing that for a couple of years, Emykhet right here was somewhere in Copenhagen. Okay, different time zone, waking up every day. During those sessions, 3 o'clock in the morning. To bring those shows to y'all and then still get up for work in the morning. So just letting you know because I was fresh as hell during those conversations if you had me, but I wasn't. I was gave you energy because it was exciting for me. But those were for me, those sessions were happening at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. But yeah, so I'm just gonna read it. So this is the Egyptology speak. So Hotep Dinesu, Wasir Neb Jadu, Netcher A Neb Abju, DF Peret Kiro, T Enkhet, Ka Apet, Sesh Menkhet, Ket Nebet, Neferet, Wabet, Ankhet, Netcher In Kani, Imaku, Aku, Maakiru.
All right, excellent, excellent. So y'all hear that? So now we coming back. We haven't done this in, well, I say she hasn't done this in a long time, over 2 years, and I can speak for myself. Neither have I. So that's what I meant by I'm putting her on the spot because I know she can do it because we used to do this forward and backwards, and when like I said, opening our class sessions, um, I taught class every week, once a week every week, and any class lessons, we would start and open up with this as kind of break the ice and recite this, and so we got just good at it, just flowing with it. And when I first would even teach this, the offering formula, I let everyone know that it's easy. Like this is a simple one. There are different. There's this. It's one structure to the formula, but there are more elaborate ones, and then there's ones that are even more simple than this one. So this is not a very elaborate one, but this is a very decent good one. All right, and it has a kind of cadence to it. So it kind of has a little rhyme or a little cadence to it, and that's how I would teach it. And it makes kind of makes you recite it. And we used to recite it. It sounds good when more people are reciting at the same time. All right, but not to sound cultish or kumbaya-ish, but if you recite it with people, it sounds even better. So that's good. But we used to just go on it. But I'm just give you an example of the cadence. So that how I used to teach it. So if you go back to the first line, where my cursor at? All right, if you go back to the first line, these lines kind of rhyme with each other. So if you notice, Hotep D Nasut, you got that Hotep D Nasut, Wasir Neb Jadu, Netcher A Neb Abju, Df Peret Keru, T Hinket Ka Apet Sesh Minket, Ket Nebet Neferet Wabet Ankhet Netcher Inkani Imaku Aku Makeru. Even at the end, Inkani Imaku Aku Makeru. It kind of just rolls off your tongue like that. So if you say it fast, Emykhet, try to say it or recite it like you're actually speaking your English or your even your mother tongue.
Okay. Okay.
Go for it. See, I'm putting on the spot, y'all. I'm putting on the spot. Go ahead.
If you're still ready, you ain't gotta be ready.
So you go, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go after you. All right.
Okay. Let's see if that's better. Okay.
Oh, it's a
Hotep
challenge. It's a
Dinasu,
challenge. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hotep Dinasu, Basir Nebjadu, Netcher A Neb Abju, Df Beret Keru, T Henket Ka Apet Sesh Menket, Ket Nebet Neferet Wabet Ankhet Netcher In Kani Imaku Aku Maakiru.
Oh, shucks. Y'all gotta give her a hand, boy. Y'all gotta give her a hand. All right, that's good. But not but. To add on to that, we could practice how fast it could be read, but then like when you know the meanings of the words, you'll know where to kind of have those slight pauses as if to be more meaningful. Like for example, from the word tea, which is bread, to Menkhet, it's actually listing things. So it would really be a comma, like it would be a pause in between these things, like tea, like you're listing things, like you're saying, all right, go to the store and give me some eggs, some flour, some vanilla, some water, and some milk. You see how you list that out there and you kind of say it that way? We don't say eggs, flour, da 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 da. We don't say it. We don't talk like that. So that's even a plus when you're able to do that as well. So anyway, and I'm kind of talking myself out of not doing it because you did it so well, and I don't want to shame myself. But I'll just recite it just so you won't be alone.
Okay.
Just so you won't be alone. Hotep di Nasu Wased Neb Jedu, Netcher A Neb Abju, Df Puret Keru, T Hinket, Ka, Aped, Sesh Menket, Ket Nebet Neferet, Wabet Ankhet Netcher Im, In Kani Imaku Aku Ma Keru. So that's how we used to do it. All right. So anyway,
That's
enough of that. So anyway, that's what we used to do, you all. But we used to do that with a lot of things, and it kind of keeps you sharp. So what else can we share? That was the offering formula that we used to do and rock out on. I guess that's it. So like I said, I'm gonna post the link in the chat, and everybody's welcome. You know, we oh, it is one thing I want to share. What was it? It was the last thing. What did I just have it? I had it right here. Okay, I want to emphasize these things. So these are the things that we emphasize, and there's I have very, very short patience when it comes to certain things. You know, I'm very, very, very patient. Matter of fact, people think I have too much patience. Like, I don't know if you all are familiar. Whoever's familiar with me, when I get on, make appearance on other people's channels, or people try to argue with me or whatever, a lot of people tell me I have too much patience, because I kind of, I try to, I mean, I'm me. I can't just help it. I can't help it. That's all I can say. I can't help it. But there are things that I lose patience over. Okay, and y'all have to understand the kind of person I am. I know a lot of y'all don't know me personally, but I'm very, very, very hard to make mad or get upset. So if I ever get that way, you would just know that it must be something real serious or whatever, because I'm just not built that way. But I do have no tolerance and no patience for certain things, and so I'm going to read these. So one thing we emphasize is good character. All right. Now all of us, we have to be able to own up to our shortcomings, things that we're good at, things that we're not good at, and whatnot. So nobody's out here trying to think that they're high and mighty and perfect, or above everybody. But we have to work towards good character, and that's something that I really, really, really hammer home. Good character. Okay, the integrity of character and accuracy. Okay, so the goal being objective truth, and not your ego to win an argument, or to think you won an argument, so much so that your ego blinds you so that you don't even know that you're wrong. And I've been in those situations. Y'all saw recent videos with me and another brother who in real time could not even recognize that they were wrong, and I'm showing them right in their face and things like that. See, stuff like that I just don't have patience for. So something that I advocate for, and I do my best to work on myself, to build good character, and to work towards accuracy, towards reality, towards the objective truth, using scientific tools, the scientific method, and the proofs or the tools provided by mathematics and logic. Then treatment of spirituality as a subject that must be approached with the same intellectual precision and rigor that is afforded the hard sciences, mathematics, chemistry, physics, etc. So basically what that means is that what people are calling spirituality and spiritual systems, no matter what words they choose to use, if people are going to have a conversation about it or examine it or whatever the case is, investigate it by the same way you would investigate any other thing. Not to say that after you investigate it's everything comes out and checks off okay and true or whatever, but at least respect it enough to investigate it properly and things like that. Because I see a lot of people argue in the YouTube streets with different people of different beliefs, and it could get very, very disrespectful, and that's just not good. And lastly, proper debating. Now, I come from a background of real formal debating. I was on a debating team in college, University of Maryland. All right. If y'all don't know, I'm from the DMV. I'm born and raised in Washington D.C. Went to University of Maryland uh, in college. I was on a debating team, and um, what's crazy is because I really didn't have an interest back then. I just did it like as a dare or on a whim. But man, I would not change it for the world. But anyway, proper debating, if done properly, it adds to the body of knowledge. Okay, and I have not seen proper debates on these YouTube streets yet. Okay, but I'm very critical about that. But you know, it's missing. People are arguing, people are fussing, but they're not. It's not proper debating. You know, and maybe I'll do a show on debating. You know, give it. You know what debating is and what it should produce. It's not what you see on these YouTube streets, though. I'm telling you. Anyway, I just want to share that real quick, and I want to open the Let me get this link for you all. So I'm paying attention to the chat now. So again, peace to anybody who's tuned in. I really appreciate it. It's you all could be doing anything. It's Wednesday. Maybe some other people are live. You could be watching, but you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate it. All right. Where is the link? All right, here we go. So let me post this link. And Emykhet, if you're on the YouTube side, I think you can pin it. I believe.
Okay. Let's see.
So let me post it first. Did it post?
Yes, I see
Okay, see
it.
if you can pin it.
No,
So
I can't pin it.
you can't
I
pin?
think no, you probably have to be the one to pin it.
Oh, really? Moderators can't pin?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you all give me 1 second. I'm trying to pin it, but go ahead and click the link if you want
Okay,
to.
so yeah, while you do that, this is Kaya had a question. I'm hoping he'll join the panel too, just in case there's some follow up to the question. But he had a question that I can see. Why don't I get it back? I can read it to you because you.
I think he's here now. So
Okay, okay, good.
uh, I think Kaya,
Yeah. Hey.
peace.
Yeah. Peace. How y'all doing, bro?
All right, peace. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. Likewise, man. I'm glad you back to the community, man. We need you, man.
Man, let's trust me. Over the past maybe 2 weeks since I made my first Facebook post in a long time, boy, my inbox has been lit.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. Hey, we have been sending the bat signal up, nigga. But yeah,
Yeah.
I really got two questions, man. Like you had said something that I just wanted some further clarity on. I'm not even trying to challenge you. I just want to understand because like you definitely have a higher level understanding of the majority of the people in this quote unquote community. I say that loosely, right? But like, okay, so you said that. Okay, maybe. Okay, let me back up for a second. You said that Kim didn't mean black, right? But then you also said that Kim was a reference to the darkness that water caused yesterday. And I just want a little bit more understanding because it was a few people on the panel and it didn't allow you to elaborate on that, and like
Yeah.
that kind of sparked my interest because like I'm on the same side of you. Like I get the Riparian thing, I get the like the and I don't know anything about the of the melanella, right? But it make logical sense to me that when you refer to people who lived outside of the land that was called Kemet, and you referred to, and on the glyph it has the mountains with the 3 and the 5 and the valleys and stuff, that they would use that as a denotation of people who are foreigners. And I'm rambling, but if you could like kind of explain that a little bit more, that'll help
Okay.
me. And then I got a second question too.
Okay.
Then I'll be out if you don't mind.
All right. No, no problem. No problem. I appreciate you coming on the panel, and then I appreciate your questions too. So I want to correct you though. I have never said that Kem doesn't that there's not an Egyptian word Kem that means black. I've said the opposite for over 10 years. So and after I answer your questions and you ask your questions, I do want to what I forgot to do before giving the link out, I wanted to kind of scroll through our videos, because our YouTube channel has been up for 10 years, 9 years. Like we've been doing this for 9 years, at least on YouTube. And so we have a lot of videos in the archive that document all our positions, is from the Seshew and myself, and the things that we've said, the things we've taught about, and everything like that. So long story short though, Kem, there is an Egyptian word, Kem. There's an adjective in the Egyptian language, Kem, that represents the color black. So anything the Egyptians wanted to describe as black, adjectives are words that used to describe nouns, as we're taught in grade school. Anytime an Egyptian wanted to identify anything, a person, an object, a horse, a bowl, whatever, with the color black, if they're trying to describe it, they would use the word Kem. So that exists. Like that's never been an issue at all. And I'm glad you asked me that though, because I do want to say this. In me trying to catch up, like this past week, almost 2 weeks now, I've been kind of scanning through, scrubbing through different videos that I've been missing over the 2 years. Man, I'm telling you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna announce this now. Our next live, which will probably be tomorrow, our next live, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to reorientate the entire argument about this so-called Black Egypt where it's supposed to be. So because what I found is that a lot of people have been intentionally, I feel, and sometimes unintentionally confused about what's being actually argued. So anyway, back to your question. There is a word Kem that means black in the language. So I've never said anything other than that. I'm on record for years always saying that. Matter of fact, I got so many slides dealing with.
Oh no. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe I didn't articulate myself well.
Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So like I guess my question was, because yesterday you was talking about the water and how it made the soil dark. You understand what I'm saying? Like you were saying, like the water made the soil dark, and the water of the Nile was the reference that people was using to compare Desheret versus Kemet,
Mm-hmm.
and that the soil is what the moisture in the soil, is what they were referring to. Mm-hmm. And maybe I misunderstood it, but I just really wanted a little bit more clarity about what you were saying so that I could better.
Oh, yesterday?
Yeah. On Garfield show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but I know I'll just explain it freshly then, because I don't remember exactly what I said yesterday. But
yeah, it was a long show, man. It was like 6
hours,
man.
yeah, it was. No, all I was saying was, so here it is in a nutshell, is that the reason why people are even caught up in the past 50 years of bickering about the Egyptians being black or not and everything is because of the claim that the Egyptians named their country after their skin color. That's the root of that's the initial claim that I am 100% against. That's a false claim, and it's a lie. The ancient Egyptians never named their country after their skin color. In other words, their skin color was not the inspiration for them naming their country. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. But what I said yesterday and what I've said years ago is, several videos on our channel, is that the the naming of the country, people have to understand toponyms and how they're named, how they come about, what they are, especially to ancient people. And that's what I was saying yesterday. But I was saying the color association that the Egyptians did is they did that with everything. They identified there's a color association of red with the desert, but the desert is not literally red, but they categorized that as red. They categorized the area that they lived in as black, but it's talking about the fertility of that particular area, what that area can do. So what I was saying on the show yesterday was that, and I think I was talking to Garfield or the brother Ankh at the time, and I was saying that darkness, there's an association of darkness with water, because when things get wet, they get dark. And I gave the example of the clouds. If it's daytime, yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, if it's a clear sunny day and all of a sudden it gets cloudy and then those clouds get dark, everybody and their mother will have the assumption that it's going to rain. So there's a psychological association among people in general with darkness associated with water. So the whole point of my argument is to go totally against the false argument that it was the skin color that inspired these Egyptians to name their country Kemet. It wasn't. It was them talking about the accessibility to water and what that did for them is why and how they named their country. And this is why I advocate for everybody to adopt the word riparian. Instead of saying, see, the root of the problem is when the scholars started to say Kemet means black land, because that opened the door for people like the late and great Sheikh the Diop to take what those scholars said. The moment they said that, when they said that Kemet means black land, then Diop said, well, wait a minute. If y'all are saying that it means black land with this 049 determinative, if I switch that and put the people determinative right there, then it has to mean black people. And that's the start of it all.
And
right?
and that actually leads me to my second question. Because
hold on, let me say this.
My bad.
So this is why it's important, and this is why this is the wisdom behind what I'm advocating. Me and Asar and Sanjeti, we've advocated for people to start saying the riparian country, because what a riparian is, it's 100% accurate and fitting for what Kemet represented to the ancient Egyptians, and it helps to eliminate anybody coming with that silliness that the word Kemet means black people, when it never did. It never did. It meant, it was always talking about the naming of the country for its fertility, because even if you look in the dictionaries, if you had all Egyptian dictionaries on your desk in chronological order of their publication, you're going to see how scholars changed from just translating Kemet to Egypt. Then all of a sudden it went fertile land. Then it went to black land, or simultaneously fertile land and black land. So that's where the confusion starts to happen. But it's really all about what the water allowed them to do. And so I emphasize the primary definition or the importance, which is water. Water comes first. Then the fertility or the darkness or the blackness of the soot of the soil. It's the water that comes first. So and it matches up with their mythos with Shu and Tefnut as being deities of water and dryness, or moisture and air, as a lot of people like to say. It's all lines up. So there's no secret, there's no mystery, and it's nothing. It's no rocket science behind this. There is an association of black or darkness with the land that where they lived at in the
Okay.
name Kemet. So that's just the bottom line. And you know, like I said, I got videos on the channel. I break all this down. It's like 7-year-old videos. I'll probably play a clip
Not,
tomorrow. No,
nah,
tomorrow.
I ain't even tripping. Like I'm not arguing against anything you saying. I honestly appreciate the fact that you explained it to me in a little
Oh,
bit
hold up.
better
I
detail.
got other people on the panel. I'm sorry. I got to let everybody in. People sitting there. But go ahead. Sorry about that, y'all.
No, is it okay?
I had everybody in the waiting room. Sorry about that.
Is
But
it okay if I ask you one?
go ahead, KL. Go ahead first.
Yeah, I just want to ask you one more question because I just want a little bit because that I completely understand what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So the reference to Kemet was and being dark or black, quote unquote, was a reference to the change of the moisture in the soil that gave them a fertile environment so that they could then establish the communities that you're referring to. Is that kind of correct?
Yes. The Nile was the life bloodline of the whole civilization. Without it,
Okay.
there wouldn't be none. Yep.
I'm with you. I'm with you. It's I would agree. I watched the videos, especially about the Riparian land. It threw me off for a second. Be honest with you, but then I actually took my bias and threw it out the window and I listened. I was like, okay, this do make way more sense than the opposite side, right? And so my next question is to further, um, I guess you would say, substantiate my understanding is when you're dealing with like Osiris now. So Osiris and this I've never heard you say this, but I have heard this being said is that Osiris was denoted as being the great black one, and the black goes back to the land, and the land was black because it was definitely a fertile area. How do we like how do you justify that in the sense that the water is more important than the land in that particular, if that makes sense. I hopefully it do.
No, it does. That's fine. It's easily reconcilable.
Okay.
Usir, okay, Usir is represented green at times and black at times, and one of his epithets will be the black one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different epithets for Usir, and in one of his iterations, he represents the fertility and rejuvenation and so on and so forth. And there's even a festival where they build this chest in the shape of Usir's mummified body, and they put dirt in there and they plant seeds and they water it for the seeds to sprout and grow. It's during a festival towards like in our wintertime. That's what ancient Egyptians used to do. I think it's Kur HaKur is what that event became known as. But so he represents fertility, vegetation, you know, in the green aspect, and so on and so forth. So there's nothing, you know, I don't see any problems with anything dealing with that.
Okay. I mean, I'm not here to argue with you. I mean, I'll just ask some questions for further clarity, and I appreciate you taking the time to allow me
Okay.
on your channel.
Well, I mean, because see, I'm trying to be very, very, I guess, summary spoken and concise because like a lot of times when people ask me questions, sometimes I could have a whole like hour session just on that one topic, and so like I'm trying to condense and whatnot. A lot of things pop up in my head, and let me just share this one with you. Usir, let me ask you this: who was Usir's arch enemy?
Nah, this is what I'm saying. I have no clue. To be honest with you, but you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like
Well.
now, if you ask me something about Ephi, I can tell you everything
Oh,
about
okay.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, I'm just trying to
Right.
understand the argument because like the whole Egyptian argument is kind of foreign to me and it's confusing
Oh, okay. I got
because
you. I
I
got
get
you.
I get mixed information from different sources,
All right.
Smash in
Well.
particular. You know what I'm saying? And so
Well,
like,
listen. All I can say, hey man, just check out our archives and just keep hanging around because I'm always available. Like right now, I'm just trying to. I'm kind of keeping it light tonight and everything, but hey, we gonna be kicking it for. We're here, so you always welcome to ask questions. But let me answer my question that I asked you. So everyone should know that Satuk or Set is the arch enemy of Usir, as people would say, right? Satuk represented the desert, so he's known as the Red One, and then Usir represents Kemet. He's known as the Black One. So here you have these two lands, and what I try to get people to really understand is in the minds of the ancient Egyptian psyche, they saw their world, their environment broken up into two things at all times. It was two things. One was an inward versus an outward dichotomy. Then there was one where an upper and a lower dichotomy. So the inner was the fertile riparian zone that everybody lived in. Then the outer was the desert arid area that didn't have access to water, that where death and chaos was known to come from, because that's where foreigners came from. And so Satuk was the deity over that region, and Usir was the deity over the habitable region where Ma'at excelled and civilization was, like where people can live and thrive. So that's in that level of their understanding. That's how they relegated Usir to Kemet and Satuk to Desheret in those two different areas. So Satuk became the deity of foreigners because that's the direction foreigners came from.
So like the people who lived in Desheret would have been more inept to have that as their chief deity, and then the people who lived in Kemet would have had a specifically different deity of like Osiris or Osir, right?
Yes. And if you're a little bit familiar with the story, Satuk kills Usir. So that lets you know that is saying that's the encroachment of the desert upon their possession. Remember, the ancient Egyptian geographical territory is made up of mostly desert.
Yeah.
As far as percentage wise, I don't know what exactly it would be, but let's just say 20% is habitable and 80% is desert.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 85-15, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, 80-20.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Satuk killing Usir and taking over is the encroachment of the desert upon the habitable area, the Kemet area, the dark area, the black land versus the red land, and so on and so forth. So that's so I'm just giving you a tidbits of
I appreciate it,
how they saw these different things. And remember, he got dismembered, and then it was Aset and her sister found all the body parts and this and that, and then that's what brings Heru into the picture. And Heru is the deity of kingship. He takes over and he repels Satuk, and that's why all the kings are the embodiment of Heru, and one of the king's responsibilities is to expand the borders of Egypt. Expand the borders of Egypt and bring about, ward off Isfet and all that stuff. But that's a whole.
Got it. Nah, look, I'm good, man. Like I
Okay.
appreciate you for answering my question. I think you explained it pretty well, and I just wanted clarity. Yeah, I was just
Nah,
confused
that's no
listening
problem.
to the conversation.
All right, cool.
I will be back. I will be
Oh yeah,
back.
yeah. Nah, you welcome. You welcome anytime.
No doubt.
All right.
Man. Thank you again.
So I want to welcome everybody else on the panel, but I want to go in the order that everybody popped in. I think Master Khaliq came, and then Sosa and Ankh. I think y'all came at the same time. So Master Khaliq, if you had some comments or something.
Peace.
Peace. Peace.
Long time, brother.
Yes, yes.
I rock with you. I got them joints.
All right, yeah, there you go. All right,
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I miss. I got off my studies within the last year or something. I've been busy, but I got them joints. Um, so my thing is this, because I learned a lot from you. I used to believe, even when I went to Egypt, I used to believe that Kemet meant, the land of the black people and all that. Um, Being under your tutelage for a while, everything you said make perfect sense. How Kemet, means the riparian land, as juxtaposed, when you juxtapose it to Deshret, you know what I'm saying? All that made perfect sense to me. In the beginning, it was hard for me to accept because I was under that, that paradigm that Egypt meant black land and all that.
That
But no,
blackology.
right. I was under that, but thanks to you, you got me from up under that, and it just makes no sense that them people will call themselves black people and like we do. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
my only thing is, even though I don't think that they refer to themselves as black people, in our paradigm right now, when I look at them,
Mm-hmm.
they were black people, even though they didn't call themselves that. Like I look at the sister Emykhet with her auto tune voice. I love your voice, but I look at her and I know she's from the continent. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? She's a
Right.
black woman. You feel what I'm saying? Even if she that's just from our paradigm. So when I
Mm-hmm.
look at those
Mm-hmm.
ancient people, even with me being over there, they were black people. They didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
call themselves black people for me to recognize them as black people, indigenous Africans, dark skinned black people. That's
Mm-hmm.
my thing. I don't believe that they call themselves black. My question to you is, coming from our paradigm, do you consider the ancient Egyptians as black people?
No, and the short answer is no, and I know that's a loaded answer, and I'll explain it. I'll do another show and I'll explain myself, but I would say no, but I don't mean what you may people may think I mean, but I don't call them consider them black, and there's a very important and valid reason why I say that. So,
And the reason,
but to make
and the
people.
reason,
All right, I'll give you the short and skinny because it's a long but important explanation. So the very brief as I could be is that in our, because you're talking about our paradigm today, right? The
yep.
modern social construct of race that was created and emerged, right? Um, that construct, this construct, which is black is included, white, you have yellow and red, and brown, but they don't use those color terms anymore. But that came about through modern, a couple of factors: modern capitalistic ideology, racial ideology, racism, and it's post slavery. Right before, during, and post slavery. All right. So now check this out. When the label black, if we look at it just as a label, it's a color term, but let's look at it as a label. That label was relegated for the bottom class of people, the rock bottom class, the footstool of everything, the people who were barely seen as human, if at all, and it justified the societies at the time for their ill treatment of people that they lumped in that category called black. All right, so black represents the bottom. Now, to us today, we flipped it and we say black and be proud and stuff, but we have to be honest that black was coined and originally the bottom caste, right? So now, the reason why I say the Egyptians are not is because I wouldn't disrespect the ancient Egyptians and be like the slave racist minded and relegate them to the bottom, because they were on the top. They were like, the Egyptians were the elite among themselves. That's how they saw themselves, and to the rest of the world. The rest of the world saw the Egyptians as all that in a bag of chips. Like they got texts where other kings are bowing down to the Egyptians, glory and sophistication, right? So I personally would never put the Egyptians down and put them in the bottom caste, even though the word that we're using for that is happens to be the color black, and so on and so forth. So that's
Do
in a
you do you
nutshell.
do you do you consider yourself black?
No, me
All
myself,
right.
I don't consider myself black. I don't want to be identified as black. Now,
Okay.
if somebody were to ask me, to pin me down to ask me a question and force me to answer, I still wouldn't use black. I would rather say I'm African American. So if I had to choose between saying I'm black versus African American, I would chalk the black and I would choose to say African American, even though there's a little story behind that. But I would say African American because there's a difference between black and African American, because not all blacks are African American. You know, all,
So in your mind, calling yourself black is derogatory. It's a negative term to you.
because I know too much. I know the history behind it, and I know
Yeah.
how I know how it's used. Even to this day, I know how it's used, and I personally choose to reject it. But if somebody else were to say that I'm black, I'm not going to cry about it, and I'm not going to fuss about it. I just don't identify. Like that's not my I don't that's not a good enough identity for me.
Perfect answer, brother. You perfect answer. You just reject the term black in all costs.
For
I feel you.
myself, yep.
But yeah,
like
for
like
your
like me, but if like I said, somebody else will say, hey brother Wajao, you what's up, black man? I'm not gonna start no fight or arguments about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But coming from me, I proclaim my own
Right.
identity. I'm not rocking with that. At the most I'll say I'm
Right.
African American because I got a history. I got, my ancestors' bones are buried here, and they the ones that endured the institution of slavery and so
So
on and
let
so
me
forth.
so let me so let me ask you this: for the people that categorize African Americans and Africans as black people, right? Just
Yeah.
for the people that categorize Africans and African Americans as black people, do you feel like if they were to be honest with themselves, that they will categorize the ancient Egyptians as black people as well?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, it's mixed. A lot of people would say that some of the ancient Egyptians, using today's racial lens, they would say that some of the ancient Egyptians were black, and then some of the ancient Egyptians were Middle Eastern. They'll run that. Because any population is not going to be a homogeneous a singularity. So they'll say, yeah, there was some black Egyptians. They even go as far as say, half and half. Well, the further south you go, stuff like that. I've heard it all. I've heard it all.
Well, thank you, brother. Yeah, I think my question has been answered perfectly. I got some insight.
All
Thank you.
right, no problem, no problem. Bobby West, Bobby Banger, brother
Don't be
Unc,
looking
what's
at me
what's
like that,
good?
Bobby Bangers.
Yeah, he came on here fronting, Wu Jai. He tripping. He thought I was lost my mind when I said the same thing. He tripping.
You didn't say the same thing, Unc. Stop
What I
front.
say? What I say?
You didn't. Unc, you call yourself black, brother.
I said
You
black
don't
African
agree. You do
power.
not agree with what Jawu just said.
I
Stop it.
said no. I'm saying I'm smart enough to know that you as an individual have the right to call yourself what the hell you want to call yourself, and nobody should tell you what you should be and should not be. So Wuja can say he's not black, but he likes the term African American. That's
Yep.
that's his thing. That's his perspective. I'm saying in these conversations when we're trying to learn our history, the worst thing you can do is look through the lenses of colonialism. I think that's retarded, especially if you think you can grow from learning your daggone history. So I'm thinking you should grow from learning the voices of their ancestors, those that came before you, in the indigenous state, if it's going to have any value. So for me, calling Egyptians black is an anachronism. It doesn't fit the culture, and it actually takes away from his Africanness. So yeah, that's why my question for you, Ujah,
Yeah.
is when we get into the discussion of the riparian land, that's a given. The watered land. Nobody disputes that. What I dispute is the water and the darkness of it. Because it also can rain in the desert and the sand get dark. It also can rain near the marshes and it get dark and water can overflow into the dark. But the thing that's a staple is that black soil annually. It's a geological feature that would actually aid and abid African people in their Africanness. So the farming communities, the cattle farming communities, nomadic communities, herding communities that resided on the Nile, the geographical feature that was there before them and will be there after them, right? Well, until they put them daggone dams up, which stopped this natural phenomenon, was a phenomenon of the black dirt spilling over the banks, giving fertility. So you talk about Osiris. And the thing that was funny, the three deities that you mentioned can go right back to the black soil. Am I correct in that? Same way you said it, it can go straight back. Me and you could argue. You said it goes back to the darkness of the soil based off the water. Am I correct? Or did I
Yeah.
get that wrong, right?
No, no, you got that right. But I do want to say something, and I'll be very very quick with you,
Hey, go
right?
ahead.
So, the one of the many reasons why I'm advocating Riparian, and my hope is that people will jump on board with me with that and just start using it and calling it that, is because water and darkness is only a part of what makes a Riparian area a Riparian. You have to remember that the darkness is a consequence of the water and other things. So you have the vegetation, you have the fertility aspect of it, the fructification aspect, so that it can actually support life. It can support human life, animal life, and so on and so forth. And when there's a constant accessibility to water, that's what produces this vegetation, and this habitable zone. When you said it does rain in the desert, it does no a bit. Rarely now than maybe in historical times, ancient times, it may have rained a little bit more, but it wasn't a constant access, and all the other elements were not present. It's like Earth. Earth is the third planet from the sun, and the reason why Earth has life on it is because of many factors, not just because of the distance from the sun, but it's a lot of factors going there. So the riparian zone exists because of a lot of factors. So I just don't want people to be confused that it's only water alone, or that just because you can, because I could take a big cup of water and throw it on the in the desert, nothing ain't gonna grow. It takes a lot more than that. So I don't want to belittle that. So that's why I'm saying riparian is a formal geological term that these people use, and it's 100% spot on. So that's why I'm advocating it. And plus, it'll eliminate people saying black land and trying to hijack it and say, oh, this is a black skin color. See, it eliminates that. The more we say riparian country or riparian land, then they can't hijack that. They can't say riparian skin and stuff like that. But that's exactly what it was, though.
So
It was a
actually,
riparian zone.
it's the ignorance that make them hijack that.
Yes.
Through the lenses of ignorance, right, of that ancient culture, and passing on African American ideas that clearly was forged out of colonialism and our fight and struggle to develop our beautifulness, our beautiful black skin, in direct opposition to what the colonial powers has said. So the point I really want to make here is I'm not actually interested in other people's ignorance of African indigenous culture. And so we know water is essential to farming, but we also know that soil is essential to farming. Maybe water is a little more important, but this is something we do know about farming. If you don't rotate those crops, the minerals in the soil become depleted, right? And it ruins the land and the crops won't grow. Am I correct in that, Wujat?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean you're absolutely right. I mean the tilling of the land, because remember, the even the word ho in Egyptian is mer, and so you have Ta Meri, the land of the ho, and the ho was a very important instrument in Egyptian culture. So it was one of the symbols and emblems of the king. So you're right. I'm saying you're 100% right. It was definitely about tilling that land.
Tilling the land. But there was one geological feature that was different. You have the Tigris Euphrates River. They don't speak of the black soil land. Okay, it's a riparian land though. That's for certain, for sure. So if your main reason is to keep the ignorant people from misrepresenting what the country was, I can understand that, right? But in actuality, Tigris Euphrates, they got water flowing, all that, but it's not known as the Black Land. So water will actually be a geographical feature in Tigris Euphrates. Why don't they call it that? The reason they call the Nile Valley that because of that geographical feature that's very special to the region. So much special that they didn't have it in the Tigris Euphrates River, and they still call it the one of the orders of civilizations, big river societies. So both of them are river societies, but the Nile is different. As a matter of fact, when you get past the first cataract, that geological phenomenon does not occur, based off of the type of sand and you know the rock when it cuts through the rock down there below the first cataract, this thing does not overflow and bring that dark soil air. So I'm saying the geological feature that was there prior to human beings makes this very, very special. Back to the minerals. The depletion of minerals happen to be farming, but the replenishment of it, based off of the annual flooding, is what made Nile Valley farming so serious. So we know they get grains from Asia. I've debated that, right? And I was showed to be wrong. Me and Sos had a great conversation on that. So farming techniques come in from Asia, grains. They tested the grains, they know where they come from, right? But the things were actually capitalized in African farming techniques, and that's what makes it unique. So my point is, the thing that actually make Kemet African is his farming, is a geological feature. And I'm saying if we take away from that geological feature, see that contrast right there? If we take that away, then we taking away a lot that would make it African, Wujad. That's my point, to stick with what the scholars have said, that is the Black Land is based off his farming. And what they said was that they wasn't even calling the Egyptians farmers because they said they could just throw the seeds in there and it just would grow. In other places, Tigris Euphrates, man, you had to work real hard to make that stuff grow. So for me, until it's been overturned, I'm gonna stick with the Black Land, dealing with the geographical feature that ties the Nile Valley to indigenous African farming and African culture and custom and tradition.
But listen, I want you to. So I just want to be real clear that you saying you sticking to it, saying Black Land. Just understand that you're not saying anything different than what I would be saying.
All right. Good.
It's like your prerogative is to say Black Land. I try my best to capture all of the elements that the Egyptians saw when they created the toponym, because I understand even outside of Egypt, specifically, the African way of naming their locations and localities and stuff like that it's a science to study, and it's a beautiful thing. When you study up on it, you'll see that it's a lot that goes into stuff like that, and it's not just the black or the black soil and everything. Like I said, that's why I say the best word that I can see right now is riparian. If everybody understands what the word means and what it encompasses, it checks all the boxes off. Black Land doesn't do that, even though it's not to say that it's wrong, but it's not enough to really
Let's talk about the boxes.
really capture that.
Let's talk about the boxes. Let's deal with death.
You said death?
Yeah, death. When anything died turned black.
Well, that's not part of the toponymy. You know how people name their locations though.
No, it's part of it.
No, I'm saying what I meant by boxes are the riparian. Calling it a riparian, it checks off all of the toponymic methods of how people name their locations, their place names.
So what does the black soil fall short of that? Because that's a geological.
No, I said that's included. Listen. All I'm saying is that that's limiting. It's included. It's just limiting. It's like you're coming up short. It's like having you trying to bake a cake, and you got just the flour. The flour is needed. It's right. It's not wrong, but it's more than that.
Like, okay,
So just saying black land, that's not enough. That's not a sufficient description. Like if I had to describe you to somebody, and if I just say a 6 foot bald headed dude, that ain't enough. That's not adequate enough to capture your visual, to represent you visually.
But it
If I try
still
to
describe,
describe
but
you,
it still describes him though.
right. But I'm not wrong. That's what I'm getting at. I'm saying I'm not wrong in saying a 6 foot bald guy,
So
but
so so when I
it's
say
it's
so
not
when
It's
I
enough.
just
say
it's just incomplete because I
Right.
noticed
It's
when
incomplete.
Ankh was mentioning black, he still has to add on top of that because and adding on top of that, he's filling in the other things in the boxes because just saying black, you have to explain about the tilling of the land, the vegetation, but there's one word that captures all of that:
Riparian.
riparian. It will catch it.
see,
It will capture the
see,
black.
bro.
It will
the word
capture the white.
repair, the word. Look.
Um,
I did a help. Nah, if anybody looks up riparian first, the first step, people could look up the basic dictionary definition, but then look at how geologists use the word. You know, it it checks all the boxes. And I did a whole presentation on this, by the way. It's in our archives. It's one of the videos. I did a whole show on what a riparian is, and I broke it down. I even played a video where people were interviewing people in Kenya about the riparian, about them preserving their riparian zones and areas and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
the first time people found out about the what riparian means in Kenya because we have riparian areas, but people didn't know what it means, which is kind of the same thing when people found out about the word riparian over here. So it does exist. It only but once you know it, then you will see how the point is that you can have one word and then that word can be so vague where you need a lot of explanations on top of it, or you can have, and sometimes that is the case, but when you have a single word that captures everything that needs explaining, the water and things getting darker with the soil, with the water, the vegetation, and all of that stuff, it just, you don't need to explain anything else on top of that. All the other things that people are crying about is already in that explanation. So that's really the point. It's just, I think the only difference is that people are not used to that particular word, and then some people don't understand that that word encompasses also the other things that they agree with.
Exactly. So Unc, I just want you to understand. I don't have a problem if you and I'm telling you, I'm gonna play a clip. I'm gonna find it while y'all are talking, a short, like a 60-second clip of a 7-year-old video where I'm saying that when people come to me and want to translate Kemet as Black Land, I literally say out my mouth, I understand what they mean, and I don't fuss about it. But I even say in that video, I said I would rather use a different term that's more all encompassing, because you remember the Egyptians didn't use none of these words because Kemet is not the same word as black. I mean, BLACK is not an Egyptian word. Riparian is not an Egyptian word. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand the Egyptian concept of what they thought and felt and trying to match it the best we can. And what I'm saying, my position is that riparian is the best word that we should be using right now. And we
real
shouldn't
quick,
limit it to just
let me
black
say
man.
this one thing. Y'all talked about the simplicity. You just
Yeah.
called me the bald head guy. But if the bald head guy was so damn renowned, banging on the pseudos, you would always remember that bald head guy. So I'm saying the geological feature of that black soil, in its simplicity, was so serious, and it encapsulated the mythology of death and dying. A lot of death and dying occurred in that river. Humans are born to die, and the deities, Osiris, all these deities had something to do with death and dying and resurrection, and is represented as green, represented as dark, and so this geographical feature, these people didn't have the sophisticated science that we have to even break down a Riparian land like you're doing. I get what you're saying because it is
No,
a
they did.
Riparian. I
They
get it,
did though.
but what I'm saying is, to these people, that black soil was magical, and that's why they buried these little statues, like vases that were shaped like Osiris with the black dirt in it, because out of that black dirt, it sprouted again. So it actually it takes care of the mythology of the death and birth, resurrection. Out of the darkness comes the light. Yeah, we kind of talk about that. Remember, you was buried. You wanted to be an Osiris because you wanted to resurrect again. What geological feature that's been in the psyche for 300,000 years of the people is the fact that things seem to die, but yet we resurrected again in the green Osiris. So I'm saying it's part of their folklore and magic that black that Kem, you know, things that resurrect. I'm saying that's just important for African folklore and mythology. That's why I gotta stick with it until, you know what I'm saying. Although you find riparian lands all over the world, Wujah, but you don't find that black soil all over the world like that.
Can I give a farewell? Can I give a farewell right quick? Because I got
I'm done. I'm social getting in. I don't want to hog.
Yeah, I just want to give a farewell right quick. Emykhet, Wujawu, y'all my teachers. Blessed to have y'all back. Ankh, you my teacher too. Don't get it twisted. It's all
nah, you're not none of my students. No, sir. I ain't taking that.
Man, Ankh is the most sensitive dude I've ever met in my life.
I'm not sensitive. I'm just saying you
well, all right, bro. Well, I ain't got it.
I'm saying
right, for you to reject your student,
yeah, I reject you.
For you to reject your student, that's ridiculous, man. Because I disagree with you on one thing.
No, that's not it.
All right,
that's not why.
Wujawu, salute, man. I'm glad you back. Emykhet, salute, my sister. I'm glad y'all back. Peace.
You my man, though.
Thank you.
Whatever.
But you ain't no student of mine, yo, because I don't got students. Good. Yeah, well, I don't got time to play with that, man. People be playing, talk wild. Nah, dog, I ain't playing like that, yo. Nope.
So let me. I just want to have a comment on what you were just saying, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I've been away for over a year and a half, right? And the one thing that I don't want to be here and not speak on is you and we're not disagreeing.
No, not at all.
Okay,
not at all.
So I want that to be clear.
Yeah, not at all.
The only difference is what I'm trying to, I guess, just express to you is I understand your stance and you're choosing to stick with translating like Kemet as the black land. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. What I'm saying is that I see that and I raise you because I'm saying that in my opinion is rooted in a lot of things I could demonstrate. I'm saying that it's better to describe it as a riparian zone. And I guarantee you, if I was to talk to any Egyptologist and I was to give my explanation to them and they would listen to me, they would agree. I've done this with one already. They would agree, even though it's a new way, and they're like, "Oh, that's brilliant." That's what I was told, because it's just a better way to describe all of the features that the ancient Egyptians revered and had access to. You know, but I'm not saying this to say that you're wrong. So I want to be clear on that. What I'm saying is that I know that that's a little bit limiting, because even everything you said about death and vegetation and stuff like that, even in the temple, the Egyptian temples had what's they called a she, which is a pool of water that was there. That was very important. And remember, the Ben stone or the stone, the primordial stone, rose out of water, not black soil, but water. All right, so water is in there big time, just like how you say the dark fertile soil is very important. So I'm not trying to say it's not, but there's much more to it. And I'm saying a riparian zone has all of the elements that fits, and that's it. I mean, you know, that's just it.
Yeah, it's a riparian zone regardless, though. You find it all over the world with rivers, right? Correct?
Yeah, most of those rivers. Yep.
So that's why I mentioned Tigris Euphrates, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't talk about the black soil of the Tigris Euphrates, because it ain't a flood animal like that would bring that. If it would, then they would talk about it. I'm just saying that's what made it renowned. It wasn't the black skin that made it renowned, because the majority of people on planet Earth range from dark to light anyway. You
So
know
so
what I'm
what so what so so what made the desert red and made that renowned for them to do that?
saying? That contrast, that black dirt. See, that's another thing. The contrast is
I
what.
just had it on the screen, but it wasn't red though. It's not red. It's not literally
No,
red.
no, no, no. But that's another thing. When we deal with color symbolisms, red to the Egyptians is not red to the African American or modern times. Black to
And
the
and
Egyptians is
and neither.
not black to
Okay,
us.
I'm glad.
Black to
Okay,
me.
bingo. All right, I'm with you on
Hmm.
that. I'm glad
Yep.
you said that.
Yeah.
So put a period there.
Yeah.
But I don't.
In your
Now don't mess it
absence,
up.
I had
Don't
to
mess it
catch up
up.
with my African studies.
Don't mess. Okay, I was gonna say don't mess it up.
I'm not gonna mess it up.
I'm
I'm
with you.
just letting you
I'm
know.
with you.
I
I'm
had to
with you.
fend for myself, bro. I had to really, because dudes was trying to trick us out here, yo, with the trick 'em shit.
All
I
right,
wanted
I'm
them to know
saying
I
don't.
can get Grizzy in the books too with them.
Okay, so but I'm
Yeah,
glad you said that
yeah.
because
Hmm.
colors now I know it went over people's head when I said this a long time ago. Y'all gonna hear me say that a lot because I said a lot of stuff a long time. But listen,
For years,
I
bro.
was
That's what
saying
I'm saying.
I have always said and this is just is just true that even to this very day, but ancient people and us today, we still do the same thing. We use colors as ontological categorical labels, meaning that we categorize things. That's a ontological phenomenon. When you categorize your world around you, and we stack a color to these categories. So everything that's green deals with health, deals with vegetation, deals with youthfulness, and all that kind of stuff. Everything that's white deals with cleanliness, purity, and we do this stuff to this day. But it doesn't mean that whatever you stick in that category has to literally be that color just because a color term is used. And I hope people understand that. So I'm glad you said that. That's beautiful. So red, because remember to the ancient Egyptians, there are four main colors to the ancient Egyptians. This is what people need to understand too. There are four base primal colors to the ancient Egyptians: red, white, black, and I believe the other one is green. We did a whole show on it, but I'm going from memory right now. And from there, they start branching off, and but they categorize things based on those primal ones, and stuff like that. So that's what the people have to understand. Doesn't mean that it's literally visually those colors, and that's what I'm saying. Now, what? But now here what I'm saying. I'm gonna ask you a question.
All right, go ahead.
Do you see the strategy or wisdom in
Yeah.
and no, what I'm saying is like if you keep saying, like if you say Kemet means black land,
Hmm.
Kemet means black land, then what that does, as I said earlier, it allows the stuck on foolery people to grab that from you and then try to imply that it's the skin color. Now imagine you saying that and that happening, right? And then here I come, I say, well, Kemet is the riparian area of the Egyptians' possession. The riparian. See, they can't do that with me. Like they wouldn't be able to grab that and go that route at all. Even though you and I have an understanding and agreement, but to the foolery, they can't use what I'm saying, but they can use what you're saying. And I'm not saying you, but that's exactly what happened, and that's what Diop did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Diop did,
He did that.
and that's the start. That's the start of the whole. This whole argument is really sourced or the cause of it is in Diop's work. As great and genius as Diop was, that was a point of contention that causes all this right now.
Yeah, and the real contention is, and I think you got to slide on this, Wuja. I've seen y'all talk about it several times. Is at the root of this is the lack of scientific literacy and comprehension. It's hard to comprehend matters of science. So, in the statement you just made, it is a riparian land, but people even miss that. There's no getting around it. There's no doubt about that. So I get what you're saying. In the technical sense, I like to try to see it more so, in its indigenous uh, geographical feature. That's for me. But you know, reading comprehension is fundamental, man. And what I found out is that you probably recognized it a long time ago, but it was just people who they comprehension. They would read statements from Sauron, and we would argue. To see, I was just willing to argue them down because they were so crazy with it. You know, at a certain point, you're going to run out of all types of ammunitions, right? So it's the comprehension of what you said that people won't even get. There's no The level of comprehension is very, very low, especially when we're talking about matters of science and science innovation and education. There's a downplay on education. So the more education you bring people, the lower your views will be. So I've always tried to find a healthy balance in that. Give some education and cut somebody out. That's just been my style. And because people not trying to hear the education, it's like in our community, they stick a finger, up to education. For some reason, it's not cool to be educated. It's not cool to slow things down like you do, Wojai, with clarity and sharpness. It's not cool to do that. No, look at him. So at the end of the day, man, I mean, we're all up against it. We just up against it, man. And like earlier, you talked about the books that was produced out of the daggone debate. Me and you stayed up for hours. I don't know how you just stay up. I don't know how you do it. I'm pretty sure you've changed your sleep pattern. But man, it was days stand up, just trying to, you was like, I ain't let you go out here and mess up that whole Kemet debate. You're just not gonna do it. And you forced me, what I'm saying, to make sure I had it down pat. And I appreciate that. But the ignorance we was going against at the end of the day, it was crazy. People wearing T-shirts with their name in the meta Netcher, but yet saying they've been deciphered.
Right.
Right? Egyptian names, Egyptian. I think you might speak of it in the book. Has meta Netcher been deciphered on how would you even know Egyptian history without it being deciphered? I mean, just clear things right there. So come on, man. So when people turn around and say they mean black skin, they doing the exact same thing, man. But they just louder with a mic in their hand, even louder. They remind me of Sarvar Stupid Seti. That's why I put Smash at now. I gotta put him right there. He didn't went by way of the pseudo, and there's no coming back. Once you get that power and people thinking that you're giving the right information, that's why I think it was great for you to come back now, because there's a lot of people really interested again in Meta Netcher, and I think you best fit, without throwing in pseudoisms to actually get them people what they need on that. So,
well, what I'm gonna do tomorrow, I'm gonna have like I'm gonna do a show,
mhm.
and I'm do my best to keep it limited on time. But I'm all I'm gonna do on that show tomorrow is to just reorientate the conversation where it's supposed to be, because I want to just go through the source where this started and what the actual arguments are, and what I don't like from what I've seen as far as I'm scanning these videos is I think it's purposely now done. People are confusing the broader audience just to get brownie points and stay relevant people create a straw man or ghost arguments of things that not been argued at all. People spend the last 2 years trying to find anywhere where the Egyptians are describing a black object, be it a person or a pot or whatever. It's like nobody argued against that. Like we talk about that all the time. The whole point is that, and I'm gonna say this on record for the umpteenth millionth time, the ancient Egyptians never named their country after their skin color. Their skin color had absolutely nothing to do with them naming their country. Period. That's it. Skin color is not involved at all. The skin color was not the inspiration, none of that. That's not even how Africans create their place names. You got to be stuck on stupid to believe that.
Like something major it needed something major to happen for ancient Egyptians to go against their norm, because you look at all the other names of Egypt, what it is, it follows all the rules we know about toponyms. So even for those proponents of it being the description of something to do with skin color, you have to ask what switched, what phenomena happened during that period of time for them to just all of a sudden, realize their skin color and say this fits the country.
That's just not the case. That's not the case at all. So, but now Unc. Also, I know you wear this, so I'm just it'll be just a reminder that 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 the entire I call it the king's possession, right? So the entire country or the whole geographical area that was owned by the king and its people um, was was of two types of land, like of two types of geographical features, right? Two major. One was the riparian zone, and the other one was the desert, right? Okay. Now, in within the riparian zone, prior to the 11th dynasty, now, because it was at the 11th dynasty that they took the narrow scope of Kemet and broadened it to for it to be the whole possession, the whole country. Prior to the 11th dynasty, there were other Kemets inside of Kemet. Okay, so there were other locations called Kemet. And in those locations, it was, uh, you know, an abundance of water, an abundance of irrigation stuff done, and things like that. So I just want to point that out as a reminder to you, but for everybody on in the chat, that because a lot of people don't realize that there are other Kemets inside of Kemet, and one Kemet that we focus on, that I focused on, that that even the brother had tried to take an issue with me, but I don't know why he did that to himself, was Kemet Weret, which is what became known as Athribis. That's a particular one that I focused on, which is in the 10th nome of Lower Kemet. That was also a Kemet. That was called Kemet way before the country was called Kemet. You could find reference to that in the pyramid text. Way back in the pyramid text. That's way before the 11th dynasty. So people need to know that. People got to understand that. And there were no Kemets in Upper Kemet, even though the river flows through it all, and the black, the black silt that people say come from the mountains down south and coming down and whatnot. It wasn't until it reached going closer to the delta. So I just want everybody to understand that. So and that kind of speaks to your point as far as the importance of the fertility aspect of it. That was some special soil, and even the Greeks attested to that. When you read the Greek accounts of that, they talked about that's where they get that from. Egypt is the what they say. Egypt is the
bread basket of the world, right?
No, they word it like Egypt is the I forgot how they word it, but they were talking about the delta. It's like the receiver. It's like the receiver of the Nile or something. The gift of the Nile. I think that's how.
The Nile.
Yeah, but they were talking about the delta. Remember, the Greeks, when they say Egypt originally, they were only talking about Lower Egypt near Mennefer, Hutkah Patah, that area, and that was very, very. That's where the delta, the triangle aspect, pans out, and that was the gift of the Nile because everything came and dumped in there. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it. So Kemet actually started in Lower Egypt in terms of their idea of Kemet, and then it broadened out to the whole place.
So that would actually knock out the skin part because people are lighter in Lower Egypt.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of the sun map and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the stock of people they're ranging with. You start to, nothing is like a night and day. So, when you're dealing with people in Western Asia and the Levant, these people don't know they're in Western Asia. They don't know they're in the Levant. They don't know they in Egypt. There's no plate tectonic science at this time. These people are just following the grains and the herds and the carnivores, right? Omnivores. It's a dance going on here. We're trying to find food, water, shelter. until you start having fixed civilization with borders and stuff, yeah, these people just moving back and forth. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is that you're going to coalesce with the people you're closer to, just like the Egyptians that's in the south are going to coalesce more with Nubians and Sudan. It's just part of the evolutionary process. I mean, that's why anthropology is a great field of study to actually get proper information on ancient civilization. They made a lot of mistakes in anthropology, a lot of mistakes in Egyptology, but they've had time to work on that, fix that. Yeah, that's like my favorite. That NASA.
Yes, the satellite imagery of Egypt. So now I'm showing this because I want people to visualize what I just said, right? It in no matter how you describe Egypt, the geography is going to trump whatever you is going to dictate whatever you mean by whatever you say. So if you look at this overhead satellite shot, the majority of the habitable area of the country of Egypt is near the Mediterranean in this triangle area right here. Everybody can see that. So even if people, such as yourself, if you still say black land, fine. If people like me, I say Riparian, fine. But the bulk of the Riparian and the bulk of the black land, however you want to describe it, is going to be in lower Egypt, which is right here in the delta. This is where that water pans out and does something to the soil, transforms the area into a habitable zone the most. Everything else is narrow. And that's what Tasha Maud. See, this is why I call it Riparian, because the Egyptians were aware of these phenomena. They knew that everything narrowed out the further down you go. See how it gets narrowed down here, then it starts panning out, then you got this offshoot of the Oasis area, the Fahum area as they call it, and then the delta. So they call this area Shemau to narrow, and then you had the panning out of the delta, Mehu, and Mehu means low, means sea level. So they knew that this was at sea level, and where the water wouldn't drain off as fast and as much because it's swampy, it's plentiful water up there, and it's this area prior to the 11th dynasty that the 10th nome Kemet was in. Prior to the whole country was named Kemet. And I don't think people either know that or focus enough about that. So I'm just throwing a breadcrumb out there so that people can understand. There was a Kemet up in here before the whole country was called Kemet. So that kills. I mean, the skin color thing is just left field. It's as silly as the flat Earth stuff, But I'm just giving y'all stuff to even more reinforce that. I mean, it just can't be that way. You mean to tell me only people who live in the 10th nome were black skin, and that happened to be Lower Egypt, like Ankh said? Like, come on. So, you muted. Your mic is muted.
Oh yeah. That's a dagger right there. Ain't no getting around that. Yeah, you would have to be flawed in your logic. Yep, and you're right. It's a flat Earth out there.
So if I blow it up, I mean, look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And there's a stark contrast. Like if I show the other image I had where like there's an abrupt contrast. It's not a gradual fade. Like how if you're a barber and you cutting people's hair and you make your line and then you fade the line. Nah, if this was somebody's head, I don't know if Chefreen's still in the chat, but I know Chefreen is a barber, right? If you leave your customer like this, you are not getting paid. You gonna have to fade that out. And my point is that in Egypt there was an abrupt shift. It was the Riparian zone and then not the Riparian zone. It wasn't no gradual easing. And that was a feature that made it special too, because in the Tigris Euphrates, as you keep mentioning, it wasn't quite like this either. it wasn't like this. And then remember Africans, the way that they conceive things and stuff is slightly different than those Semitic speakers
Absolutely.
that were up there. So because remember they orientate themselves different. And here they orientate themselves facing south. Other people, even the Semitic people, they face the east. So we can't you can't we can't focus on that. But yeah, anyway, so I just want everybody to see that.
So Wuja, what I, man, I know I done read enough books of the elders. I done read enough
Oh,
band.
hold on. Chefreen said you pay me before you show up. Hey, Chefreen, if you're cutting people's hair, you leaving them like that picture, boy. I'm sure you gotta lock the door.
Yeah, they
Kevin was a
they got
Kevin
the
was a
action
bold
that
cut.
got to your barber early in the game.
But go ahead, what were you saying?
Yeah. So, man, we kind of threw my thought. Um, the
You
point
see, you see,
out,
you said you read a lot of books. You said you read.
yeah. So, the the whole the skin color approach and reading these books, it was a fight against oppression, bro. There was a need to fight for the Africanness of Egypt and its blackness because it was doing the movement, the Black Power movement. 1974, so your fist was up. So this is what it was a political stance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what I do know is where I'm confused now, I'm totally confused, is that why now is it not important for the Egyptians to be Africans? Because now we can go to museums now and we can see them plaques. We started this a long time ago. One no museum saying they was African. We was fighting for the Africanness, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
that you can see it in the Boston Museum, they talk about how they led the expedition with Reisner, came out and held out of the Boston. He was a curator, I believe, at the
Yeah.
Boston Museum, and how he just went there and started calling people Negroes and named them Nubians.
Yep. Yep.
All the Negroes,
Yep.
and then Sarah turned around and said they was numerous in Egypt. Just said all kinds of stuff, right? So they wouldn't murmur their mouth that they was black Caucasians, everything but African. And now we finally got them to the point. Whenever we interview Egyptologists, it's part of their study now. Just listen to the audience know it's actually part of their study now. It's to study the Afrocentric movement, and so they the
Mm-hmm.
ones that be bringing up Chicanti Diops and Theophile Bango. I don't be bringing it up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they put it in the proper context. You know what I'm saying? Just like Diop said, like I talked about the slide. I know you got it somewhere where he tell you the people gonna come behind him, right, with fresher minds and more
Yep.
situation,
I showed it.
add correction to it. It's the
Yep.
most anti-scientific thing you can do is let a person run around and with something that's wild when available information say different, elder or not. So you're
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Matter of fact, you're not even if you're not willing to deal with the information that's available to you that will correct some of the things that the elder said, then you're not actually standing on their shoulders. You washing their feet, which is
Right.
crazy. You're supposed to grow and stand up, right? You're supposed to be able to see things they can't see, but the only way you can see things they can't see is by standing on their shoulders. So correction is the order of business. Not correcting is the order of religion. So I just think people have a religious mind when it comes to the elders and Diops and them. And Diop said something totally different than what these cats is saying. He said, "Man, y'all gonna correct me."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying literally that I have the propensity, right, to actually, correct Diop, but I'm saying I can bring source material from other experts that sparred with them at the conference that's looking at it now that could actually, correct stuff he got wrong. So these Egyptologists will tell you what he got right. That's why he's in the Met Museum for the things he got right. The things he got wrong, they throw it in the trash can of history, like you're supposed to. But go ahead, Bujan. Yep,
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I wanna ask you something about that. After I just want to share this because it's two things you made me think about, right? So now this is what I was gonna show the brother Thunder yesterday when I gave that quote about Diop being bothered that people will just take him on his word for it. And he wants people to develop ways to confirm the proofs and stuff like that, and to advance the knowledge forward. But anyway, this is an example. I'm showing this because this speaks to two things you said. You said that you understand the Ungawa Black Power movement and the political pushback, right? They were trying to push back on scientific racism and scholastic racism, especially when it came to Africa and specifically Egypt. So Diop is a warrior trying to push back on all of that. So we have to understand his context of a lot of things that he did. But in doing so, sometimes when you push back, you kind of push back too far. Like you kind of pushing a little bit too far. And I think Soy Keita, I don't know if that was you on the phone. We had Dr. Keita on the phone.
I was there.
And he put us up to, he gave us some wisdom. He said that the scholars that we venerate, such as Diop, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, etc., he said their works sparked and triggered the foundations, but he said we have to switch it up. Because we can't be guilty, find ourselves guilty of the opposite of what the Europeans did.
Right.
Because then we'll be hypocrites. So we have to use the science and let the work speak for itself, etc. So anyway, long story short, this is coming out of Diop's book called Civilization or Barbarism, and this is page 66. Okay, and in here, he's talking about this image, which is the quote unquote Table of Nations in the tomb within Egypt, and tomb of Seti I and a few other tombs, Ramses III, Ramses VI, etc. Right, Myrna Ptah, etc. But what I want to point out here is I'm gonna do what Diop told me to do, which was to verify his work, to check on it, to check it and everything. So just real quick here, Diop is showing this image of four groups of people, and he labeled them A, B, C, and D. A, and if you can read the glyphs here, if it's legible, people can read with me. This first group A is the Remech. Group B is the Amu. Group C is the Nehesiu, and group D is the Chemehu. Now, anybody that studies Egypt know who these groups are based on those names I just said. The Remech are the Egyptians. The Amu are the Asiatics. The Nehesiu are the people south of Egypt, and the Chemehu are the people west of Egypt. We call them Libyans. All right. So we got Libya, we got the Middle East, and we got Sudan, and we got Egypt, if we want to put countries on there, right? So anyway, Diop labels them incorrectly down here. A, he has the Egyptian seen himself, and that's correct. So A is the Egyptian. But he puts B as Indo-European. And then he puts C as other blacks of Africa. And then he put D as Semite. So that's not accurate, because the Amu would be the Semitic speakers. That would be B. And the D would be the Libyans.
Yep.
And if anything, it was, you would say Berber or stuff like that.
Yep.
Indo-European has no business being here at all. You see what I'm saying? So this is like a little thing that if you study this, you'll see and pick up on. But if you don't, people are just going to rock out and take this to heart and rock out. But that's a mistake. So I just want to point these things like this out, in line with what you were saying, because his whole point in this section was to choose the oddball tomb where the Nehesiu and the Remech are visually identical, and that's why he said black type and then other blacks in Africa and things like that. So anyway, I just wanted to show that. But hold on, I had a here's the actual image of it, the remech. So I have the actual image of the source itself, and this would be the Chemehu, or hold up, because you can't see the actual glyphs are definitely broken off here, and then you have the the Chemehu. No, the I can't even tell which one's out because the glyphs right here is broken up. The image is cropped where you can't see all of the glyphs.
The way they dress, they look. I think they're the same.
No. But if you see the whole reproduction,
Oh, okay.
here you would see them broken up. The Remech are always first, the Amu are always second, the Nahisiu here, and then you have the Chemehu here. They're always the fourth.
Question: why they do? So I thought they were saying the ones close to the horse, right?
Yeah, over here.
All right. So this is interesting. I know the Egyptians. I don't think they
And
looked at.
this the actual that's the actual picture. That's the actual
Okay.
primary right there.
Okay. All right. The point I want to make is the Egyptians. They didn't look at the Nubians no different than they looked at the Libyans.
No, they did. They did.
You think they seen them differently? What I mean is
What you mean?
they seen them as like enemies at times. You get the
Oh,
point?
in that respect,
Yeah, that's what
they
I
were.
mean. Yeah, had propaganda based around them too. A lot of propaganda going on. I don't think the lived reality was as contentious as they made it. Meaning on the ground, it wouldn't have been this type of squabble, but in political nature and inscribing tombs and stuff like that, they would show something that was totally different. But on the ground, they was just like Americans. You know, you ain't actually beefing with white people like you say you are. You ain't really beefing like that, right? You know,
Mhm.
you look at the history of black people in America, and you look now, certainly events occur, but you ain't walking around slapping every white person you see. You ain't now. You get a certain segment of the population in America this fight, this waging war, this mythological war, but in reality, you work, you go to parks together, right? You work, get paychecks. Some people write paychecks for white people write paychecks for black people. So yeah, the lived reality is a little bit different.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, but my
Yeah,
point. I mean, it's a lot of points I could make with with these images, but I keep it light tonight. So, I mean, listen, like I said, I'm gonna dedicate a show just to reorientate the argument in a concise way, so people have one video to go to and hear what the arguments really are,
is
as
that
opposed
Libyans
to
right there? Are they Libyans?
yeah.
So why are the Libyans so dumb?
Right. See, that's what I said. It's a lot. It's a lot that we could say
Yeah,
about these different images and things. But there's a reason. Remember, the Libyans. Okay, the Libyans are broken up into two groups.
okay,
You
okay.
have the Chehenu and then the Chemehu, and so they depicted them differently to represent those distinct populations, those distinct communities. But both of them was to the west of
Gotcha.
Egypt, and they interacted with them. So, and that's the Chemehu is what Gerald, starting with Gerald Massey, well actually starting with Champollion, then Gerald Massey, and then the conscious community. That's where they get the word Tamahu, and they try to say Tamahu means white people. You know that, right? I did a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
show on that.
No,
Yeah.
that's Jabari and Smash. Smash backed up Jabari with the foolery. I couldn't believe it.
Oh nah, they nah. That's
Crazy,
that's that's
crazy,
that's just not it. And
crazy.
here go Libyans here too. They doing the dance, the Ibu. Um, there's a special dance that they had that the Egyptians learned from them and stuff. But
Wow.
that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, let me I
Interesting
can stop
image
sharing
right there.
that.
I never seen that image before, but you can see the feathers. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah. So what happened to Sosa? I thought Sosa. I was make sure Sosa got in here.
How you doing, Emykhet? I ain't even speak to you. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good, Unc. I'm good. I'm here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So but my second thing that you said sparked it is I kind of asked you. I didn't have time to ask you yesterday. Right? Was that, or maybe I'm gonna make a suggestion. I think that as soon as you can, it would be a good idea for you guys to do a show on the difference between popular consensus versus scientific consensus, and then how each of those consensus in their own right, how are they overthrown, if and when they are ever overthrown. Like if let's say you have a popular consensus right now, and if some group off in the cut do some remarkable research, and then they produce their work. How long? Like, what's the process? How long does it take for their new work that's profound to overthrow the pop, in a popular consensus situation, and then a scientific census? Like what's the real, boots on the ground? Like, how does that actually happen? Because I know it takes a while, but it would be good if you could break that down and show the people, show the audience how that's actually done, and even maybe give an example of when it was done. Like, I know, for example, a big popular one that popped up in my head is Einstein. When Einstein kind of absorbed Newton's stuff, and then because Einstein's thing was radical when he first dropped it. Then it took a while to adopt. So anyway, stuff like that.
You kind of talked about that yesterday, and I wanted to say something to that. You sort of you changed up today, but yesterday you sort of alluded to a theory of general relativity kind of overthrowing Newtonian physics. That's not quite what happened. Newtonian physics.
No, I never mentioned that yesterday.
Of Einstein theory of general relativity.
Yeah, it is. No, I never said that yesterday.
Theories
That was
aren't
somebody
actually
else.
overthrown like that. People think they're actually overthrown. To speak to your part about consensus and popular consensus. So, first of all, science moves real slow. And I'll give you a real-time example. From 1974, they had already admitted that that the Egyptians was indigenous Africans, races, and skin color. From 1974 to now is when you start to see that start to change. And it took a whole different crop of Egyptologists, right?
Yep.
That's the real conversation now. It's the young Egyptologists that are making these adjustments and changes in African history, specifically the Egyptians and who they was and who they not. And this is from 1974. Think about that, yo. That's about 40, 50 years, 60, 70 years. Look at that.
Yeah.
So it take a long time. So if you would go with Riparian, you might not be.
No. Listen, there's a shot. Listen, that's what I'm advocating, and I can offer a good case for it, and I'm just gonna keep pushing it.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna get a chance.
I'm gonna keep pushing it, because because you got people out here who don't really study the language or take a real formal approach to learning the language, but they're. No, I'm talking about anybody. Because I've ran. Okay.
I ain't gonna avoid the threat that's in my face.
All right. So, hey, whoever the shoe fits, man, buckle it up. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is that I've bumped into a lot of people that don't approach learning the language in a formal, structured way. They kind of autodidact themselves willy nilly, right? And so a lot of people will depend on these dictionaries and stuff like that. And if it's not in a dictionary, they swear that it just don't exist or whatever the case is, and that's unscientific at the least. But the reason I'm saying this is because I had a back and forth with somebody. This was like before I took my break. That
who you had a back and forth with?
No, it was somebody. It was offline. It was in person.
Okay.
Right. And I was telling, it was about Egypt, and I was telling them it was about the subject of black and stuff like that, and I introduced Riparian to them. And once I got past the fact that, because how I started, just real quick, how I started the argument with this brother is that he didn't like the word Egypt at all, like the word Egypt. He said, that's a Greek word. We shouldn't call it that, So I was like, I broke down the different indigenous names to him. And I said, if we're going to translate, I said, my preference is to call it the Riparian country, whatever. So then we got on that. Anyway, so he was like, he said, at least Egypt is in the dictionary. Riparian ain't even a dictionary. So no, you know. And he was going on me like that. But come find out, Riparian is in the dictionary. It is in the Egyptian dictionary, right?
Okay.
And when I pointed that out to him, he had to eat his words. Like, because he was saying the word is not even found in the dictionary at all, right? And I was saying that's like kind of irrelevant because these are translations, you know. If you understand what a translation is, you know, whatever. But anyway, long story short, Riparian is in these Egyptian dictionaries, and it's relevant to the point of why I advocate for that, you know, to do away with the whole black skin thing. And people got to put there's a big line in the desert. Either you are going to believe that the Egyptians named their country after their skin color or not.
Yeah,
there's no in between. Don't allow people to convolute the conversation by pointing out black pots and black people described as black, or a person described as black, or whatever the case is. You know what's crazy?
what's that?
Let me ask you this:
Mm-hmm.
if everybody in Egypt is black, so much so that they have to that their blackness is the inspiration for them to name their country.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it be necessary to point out an individual being black?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
But why? But I'm looking at videos, right, and I'm seeing the chat. Why aren't people picking up on that? Like, what's? Because I've been gone. You tell me why are people being fooled by this stuff?
because nobody's actually taking time and thinking, and it's high level. It ain't even high level pseudoisms. It's Sarah stupid steady type of vibe going on these days, where just be extraordinarily loud, make a couple songs, and you got it. So it's no real like the whole TLA, it's the TLA movement. I'm gonna call it the TLA movement. Ridiculous. That's just one tool towards getting towards the answer. There's no multidisciplinary studies occurring. That's why I stick to anthropology, because it's multidisciplinary. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to be in a whole room full of black people and no other people around that you would even know of, and then name yourself that, because then you would it's crazy. And actually, I'm not even an advocate of calling the Nubians black people, because then you run the total risk of, well, if the Nubians is black, then who the hell is the Egyptians? And the whole thing is a recipe for disaster to take you away from putting Egypt in its proper indigenous African context, because indigenous people wasn't rocking that like that. It didn't make sense. It's a gradual push towards that type of racialized terms, and it culminates with the Portuguese coming into West Africa. Yeah, so but you gotta. I mean, come on, man. You gotta be literate in science. You gotta understand history. I feel like all African Americans should understand the racial history. Let me ask you this question though, Wuja. And I fight with this man. I don't know whether to get mad. And I want to ask Emykhet too. When you hear a scholar, European scholar, say that, well, the Egyptians would be black based off the one drop rule in the antebellum South, Jim Crow South, what comes to your mind? What do you think they actually saying? Are they just trying to let us off gracefully and hope that you might look it up? Are they being smart? Or is that the best they can do for you? What do you think?
Hold up. Say that part again. What? Just repeat what you say. He said.
When a European scholar, when you ask them, are the Egyptians black?
Mm-hmm.
European scholars say, yeah, by American standards in the Jim Crow South, one drop rule, yeah. What do you think they trying to say?
Well, if I heard that, I would take that to mean that what they're implying is basically saying, yeah, if you look at the Egyptians through the modern racial lens, then yes, because that was all of what it took for the European colonizers to relegate somebody to that lower class was that one drop rule. So that's what they're talking about. Anything like that gives them an excuse to put you at the bottom, and that whoever said that, they would be correct. But I wouldn't word it that way. But yeah, that's what they're saying. But basically, if you look at it through the racial lens of today, the Egyptians would be black. That's what they're saying.
Crazy. One drop, and they make you go to the south. They say in the south.
Yeah. But let me just share. I'm sharing this real quick. I think somebody in the chat, I think Chefreen was asking Riparian
Yeah,
dictionary.
we were gonna give him that as a homework to eat, to to do while he eats some vegetables.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
hey, it looked like Uja was doing your homework for you, chef. So
all right. So
buckle up.
no, but this was the brother I had an argument up and down. Boy, the brother was like, I don't like Egypt. You should stop saying Egypt. Egypt is a Greek term, and I had to break that down to him and how it doesn't matter and stuff. But anyway, he finally came around. He had to eat his words because I told him where to look, and he looked and he found it. But anyway, here it is in the Egyptian dictionary. Um, the word does exist in dictionary. That was my first point.
Bank,
But if you
shore,
but if but
shoreline.
if but if you look at it, it says bank, shore, shoreline, farmland on
Okay.
a riverbank, which is where the Egyptians live, and then riparian land. And this is the word wajeb, and you see the glyphs for it with the irrigation channel. And here's another instance of it. We have wajeb or wajeb is spelled different with different set of glyphs with the tongue of land right there. So it's talking about land. It says riparian land. It says riverbank, shore, and riparian land. And everybody knows that the Egyptian civilization is married to the river, the Nile River. And you see it again right here. These are other instances of it, all right here in a row. Wajeb, different variations of how to spell it, and so on and so forth. So that's that. Here's another one. Edeb,
Yeah.
riverbank, riparian land, shore of a flood. Check that out. A shore of a flood now. The Nile does flood. You got Edeb. Down here again, Edeb. And notice the determinative is a tongue of land. This. If you can see my cursor, this last glyph, which is N21A. You got N21 pointed the other way. N21A is pointed to the right. And these are tongue of land glyphs. This is showing it's the top of them. All right. Here's another one. Edeb. Now this will be Edebwi because it's two. It's dual. You got two channels, irrigation channels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got riverbank, riparian land, shore, 4 variations of that. So that's there. You got it here again, tongue of land and the water channel together. Riverbank, riparian land, shore, Edeb, same thing with just the 2 channels alone. And then the 2 channels represent what? What? Look.
Look,
Let me
look,
stop.
look. 2 lands. But yo,
Two lands,
go.
Tawi, the exact same glyph now. In this instance, is Tawi, which is 2 lands. In this instance, is Edeb for the riverbank or riparian land. Now remember, Egypt was called Tawi, and Tawi is matching up with riparian land. I think you're gonna see where riparian is gonna be at the end of the day. Riparian zone or land or country is gonna be the best way that we should be calling it. I'm telling y'all.
I'm gonna give you something though.
Yeah, actually, keep going because
Here
if
go,
you
here
go
go, here go
to
another one. Here's Wajeb, bank, shore, shoreline, farmland on riverbank. Same thing. Let's keep going down. Here go one down here. Wajeb, riverbank, riparian lands, plural, seashore. Then you got over here, you got Wajeb, bank, shoreline, farmland. That kind of repeats. Riparian lands, Wajeb. It's the same word, different variations, right? Riparian land, shore, bank. Keep on going down. Bank, shore, shoreline, farmland again. Wajeb. You got 3 in a row. And then down here you have Wajeb, riverbank, shore, and whatnot.
actually, do you have page 1286?
1286, we can go to it. Let's go. You talking about in here?
Yeah.
All right, let me fast track down to 1286. 1286 coming right up, right here in your face, right here.
Um, no, I think we have different versions. So, okay, maybe I should share mine.
Okay, you can share yours.
Yeah.
Let me unshare mine. You can share yours. But um, let me know when you're sharing it. Oh, we
Yeah,
got
hey,
we got
Blue,
Damo in
I
the
gotta
building.
get up out of it, man. I gotta get up early, man.
And I
Okay,
don't leave
okay.
yet.
Same.
It's not I gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. What you
Nah,
want to show? I'm gonna
it's
let you
cool.
go ahead.
It's cool.
Go
I
ahead.
was trying to see where it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, so see see how he says, because y'all just saw what which I showed you with the edeb for the riparian, and then he did tell you that idebwi means the two banks, and this is also translated as Egypt. So ideb for the riparian that y'all just saw, idebwi, which means not just one ideb but two idebs, or what you would say in Sesh Netcher as idebwi, would be what was known as one of the toponyms for Kemet.
Yeah, people got to understand. I saw Chefreen said, don't say Kemet, but it says Egypt. And then, but go above there. Go above there. Go above there. No, right, the word right above it. It says Idebui what?
This,
Thanks.
No, right above it.
this,
No, where you were. Go back to where you were.
or here.
Then go to the one above it.
Okay, idebwi her.
Right, Idebui hair. Now they have Egyptians with a question mark, so they're not certain. The dictionary writer is not certain, but I understand why he put Egyptians there because of what Idebwe hair means. It means to be upon the banks. Those who are upon the banks, those who dwell upon, on. So the word hair is on,
Like that.
on. So they're saying, okay, they got to be the people, the Egyptians.
Like
Right.
that. I like to see the sentence it was in though. That's how I start. Yeah, I recognize. Let me see the sentence they're using in that. Be better.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, we keeping it light tonight. We could do that.
Right. We're gonna
Let
do
me
that.
tell you, zoom in. So let me zoom in.
Oh
For
yeah,
y'all.
that's clear right there. That's good.
Yep.
I see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Riparian is Edeb, which is also one of the name, or Edeb, the name for ancient Egypt. So one thing to be aware of is that Egypt has had different many names, and
Yep.
Kemet only came across during the 11th dynasty. So even when people talk about skin color, some of the logical questions that need to be asked is what happened specifically during the 11th dynasty. Is that when black people showed up, or did something so significant happen? Maybe they were colonized and then they became free, so then they were like black power, so we need to focus on this, things like that. Because even when you and this is something that anybody would ask you if you're in college and your professor asks you to write a paper. You can't just write a paper making statements. You also have to back the statement up. So one of the questions would be, why did that happen only during that specific period? So these are things that are lacking from those people to explain why in the 11th dynasty the focus all of a sudden became on skin color, if we're going by skin color.
So let me make sure I got the lesson straight.
Wait.
Basically saying that it was
Okay.
called the Two Shores, right? That was
Yeah.
one of the names, right?
Yes, two riverbanks, Idebwe.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So, but hold up. Let's look at this. I don't know where Chefreen got this quote from, or if this is his thoughts he's typing out here, but I'm gonna read it. Chefreen says the ancient Egyptian language doesn't have a direct equivalent to the modern English word riparian, which specifically describes something related to the banks of a river. I just showed y'all that.
You gotta show the sentence,
I
though.
literally just showed the Egyptian words that do match up perfectly with what a riparian is, what the word means, and it actually said riverbanks. Idebwi is dual because you got two sides of a river. Anytime you have a river, you're gonna have two banks, unless you live on Mars somewhere. It's gonna have two banks, so it's dualized, just like Tawi, Idebwi.
Yeah,
I
put it
just
up
I,
again for Chef if in case you missed it. It's on my screen that I'm
I just
sharing.
no, I don't know the reason why that was said, but so I'm not gonna make
He
Okay.
said a
big
But
deal
direct
out
just
of
in
it.
case
But
equivalent.
anybody missed it, it's right there.
He said
but
a
yeah,
direct equivalent. I get what he's
it
saying.
it
Look, I'm out of here, man. I
no
got
it
to
is
get
no
tomorrow.
it is. But wait, hold up. Nah, it's a direct. Like you can't be more direct. It said Riverbank. It
Yeah,
says
yeah,
River.
yeah, yeah. I get it. I get that.
It's, so
So we're gonna
so
call it the Riverbank land.
hey,
Riverbank
wait,
River.
hold on, before you
What?
go, hey,
Okay.
you can leave on that note. You said we're gonna. I know you jokingly say we're gonna call it the Riverbank Lane, but
Oh, the
guess,
Black
but look,
Riverbank.
no,
What?
but look, what do all of the honored and respected elders call Egypt?
River societies.
Nah. You know it.
What?
The
You say it all.
Nile
Oh,
blank
Nile
blank blank.
Valley. Nile Valley civilization.
Nile Valley, right? The Nile Valley. You
Rivers.
know when they say that they're saying the riverbank
Yep.
civilization because the
Absolutely.
Nile is the Nile. They say the
Absolutely.
Nile Valley civilization. What is a valley?
Absolutely.
A valley is the depression that is caused by a river. That's what a
I'm getting
valley
off this
is.
show right now.
All
I'm
right.
not gonna let them convert me. I'll see you later. Nah, that
Yeah.
y'all right. That was a good one. I like that. Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
we'll
Hey.
get
All
back and
right.
do another show. We can put him in a sentence to see what he where you find it at. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got the
We could do
bliss and
that. We
stuff.
could do
So
that.
that'll be
We could do that.
interesting. Appreciate it.
But take me up on my suggestion. I'm saying
I am. No, I
I've
got you.
the
I got you. We're gonna do
the
that.
over the scientific consensus versus popular consensus and
All
all
right,
that.
got you. All right.
Yeah, you let me know when you do it because I want to check it out because
All
that's
right.
I think that's a good thing.
All right.
All right, then.
Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you, Emykhet, man. Appreciate
Please,
everybody
and thank
listening.
you for
I
coming.
felt like it was a very productive conversation, man. Appreciate y'all, man.
No doubt.
All
Yeah.
right, peace.
Okay. Okay. And I'm a,
Look,
'cause I see on the chat, Chefreen said so riparian means riverbank now. And Chefreen, riparian has always meant riverbank.
it all look
Always in the
the
dictionaries.
the etymology. Listen, the etymology of the word riparian comes from Latin that means river. God dang, Chefreen.
Yeah, you gotta eat some vegetables. You would know that.
Sheffer. Come on, we'll build. I'm trying to keep it light tonight. This is just an orientation so everybody to know what we're about and stuff. So listen, we got a few minutes. The link is still posted. So if you want to come on and have a say real quick, come on. I want to start winding down. All right. Y'all know that I'm known as MC Iron Lung, and I could talk to y'all for days, and I gotta really control that because I told myself I'm not gonna be doing that, and I already violated. I was on Garfield's show, running my mouth. I wasn't even supposed to. I was supposed to even be somewhere, and I didn't end up going because I was talking too much. So that's one thing I definitely have to keep under wraps. So anyway, I'm trying to wind this down. But if anybody want to come on, now we got a few more minutes. All right. But Chefreen, if you're still there, look up even the etymology of the word riparian. Matter of fact, let's do him a favor real quick. While Damo, hey Damo, how you doing, man? You got
Hey, Hotep, can you hear me?
yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, no, I was just popping in to say what's up. Ain't seen you in a while. Glad you back.
All right, cool, man. That's L.A., Oklahoma, y'all.
Yeah. Hotel.
Hotep.
Yes, L.A., Oklahoma, man. So y'all know, I know y'all didn't see it, but when we opened the show, the live tonight, I played the old intro with all of us in there, and I'm gonna close with it too. So yeah, we had some really good intros. I think we were among the first. I'm not saying we the first, of course, but we were among the first to have intros and stuff like that. You know, the way that we did things and stuff. All we're going back to Google Hangouts and things like that. But I'm gonna do Chefreen a favor right now. Riparian. I'm gonna show him the etymology of the word. I'm gonna show him right now. And when I show, I won't be able to see the screen. Just to let you all know, I won't be able to see I won't be able to see the chat in the way that I have to share this, but I want y'all to see this. Here we go. And hopefully y'all can see that. and you can't right now. Where is it?
No.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So Chefreen, oh, I definitely have to blow it up. Let me blow it up. See if I can get it blown up. Can y'all see that good? Can y'all see that?
Two, but let's see. Let's wait.
Yep.
Somebody on the chat, let us know if it's clear or if you want us to make it bigger.
And Christopher Willis says, show the word Emykhet. All right, I'll show that in a second. But Chefreen, I hope you're there. Hope you didn't go, because this is I'm doing this for you. I'm just showing this for you, Chefreen. And I appreciate you saying everything you're saying, because I look at all these as teaching moments, and we all progress together. So anyway, Riparian, it says, and this is etymonline.com, so y'all could look it up with me or after. Okay, this is Riparian. It says, of or pertaining to riverbanks situated on or near a riverbank. 1849 with the an suffix plus the Latin riparius. What does it mean? Of a riverbank, from riparia, which means shore. Later used in reference to the stream flowing between the banks, from ripa, which means steep river, bank of a river or shore. All right, I shouldn't have to go any further than that, but even the word riparian has always referred to the river and the banks of a river, because you can't have a river without banks. A river without banks is an ocean. I mean, even oceans have shores eventually, but a river has banks. The riverbank, where the water ends and the land begins. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. That's a Riparian for you. All right. So that was quick right there. All right. So Chefreen, hopefully you seen that, because I know there's some people. See, when we introduced the word Riparian, we got called Riparian Nights and this and that, and that's actually a good thing. I wish more people would say it, because I want people to get used to that word, because I'm advocating to people to call ancient Egypt the Riparian country. And I want y'all to know that today, as of 2024, the Arab Republic of Egypt, Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, all these countries I just named are called today, they're called Riparian countries. Outside of their formal name, they're called Riparian countries by geologists and hydrologists, people who deal with that field of study. I did a whole video on it. I showed all of the information. All right. So I'm looking at the chat because I'm about to wind down. I'm just trying to see anybody got any other thing going on. Peace to the chat again. I see Miss Tiffany is in the house. It says him calling himself black ain't got jack to do with your body. Yeah, I know. You all definitely have your own conversations in the chat. Definitely. All right, there we go. So I'm just looking through the chat. If anybody got any questions you want to type real quick. If not, is that video on this channel? Yes, Empress Ket, the video I just mentioned about Riparian, where we broke it all down. Yes. Let me. I guess I could wind down and just make a few announcements and statements. I have always been teaching the language, even when I took a break from social media. In fact, Emykhet has taken over teaching the beginners class, and she's been keeping it going, even though we were absent from social media. So I want to make sure everybody knows that, and I am going to be advertising for anybody to come and sign up for the class, to take on new people to come into the class. And the way that the class is operated, you can learn at your own pace, but we meet once a week to discuss whatever and wherever you are in the lessons. It's a very structured course. There's a textbook that you get and the whole nine. All right. But you can learn at your own pace technically, but we meet once a week to cover whatever it is that you have questions on. We try to go in sequential order from chapter 1, 2, 3, et cetera, but we can bounce around, et cetera. But there's quizzes that must be passed. There's a final examination at the end to get a certificate of completion. And if anybody knows me, all those who do know me, they know that I am very stingy with the certificates. I don't sugarcoat anything. If I feel that you're not proficient, you're not going to get a certificate. So anybody that has a certificate from me, they have to go through the rigor of everything, you know. So, but I am opening that, inviting everybody. It's always been open, but I'm gonna advertise and invite people for that. All right. And then another thing I wanted to say is that what we're gonna do, because we have so many videos on our channel that cover a lot of information that people are unaware of, because you know we're not very popular and we're not in this for a popularity contest. So the downside of that is that people just don't know we exist. They don't know our, you know, the information that we've shared, and you know, and all that good stuff, whatever the case is. So I would ask you all to do me a favor, and if you enjoy any of our videos, share it out. You know, anybody you think that's interested in that kind of information, share it out, and you yourself take some time to hang out on our channel and look at our archives. But what we're doing is we're going back in these old videos and we're going to timestamp them inside of the description so that you'll see the thumbnail timestamp of what's covered in these different videos. And then if we have to, we'll change some of the video titles so to be more fitting to you know, with the content of whatever it is that we're dealing with. All right, so just spend some time on your spare time on our channel and just go through, and whatever piques your interest, check it out. And we're always here. If you listen to something and it inspires you to study and you find some new information you want to share, hit me up, hit us up. If you differ with something that I said, hit me up, hit us up, because I'll have conversations. You know, I'm very approachable. You can have these conversations. I just don't get down with the shenanigans and the immaturity and the mess. I'm adamantly against that, and I don't want to be dragged into that. I'm not going to allow that or anything like that. So keep it professional, keep it progressive, and educational, and you know, the whole nine. All right. So with that, I am definitely about to, because like I said, I don't want to keep this going, and I'm running. It's 12:03. I was going to shut down at 12. So with that, Emykhet, you got anything closing? Demo?
Oh, I would just like to thank everybody and you know, on the chat, and also everybody that, you know, came on the panel. There was some really good questions, and then also the discussion was really good. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to our channel, just make sure that you subscribe, because even though I know Ujao said we have a show tomorrow, most of the times you know, the shows are not like pre-planned or anything like that. If somebody hits us with a question, sometimes we'll just pop up, you know, to address that if it takes too much time typing and things of that nature. So if you subscribe, then you'll just make sure that, you know, you don't miss any of the shows, because when we're live is good, you can get your questions answered as well. So just make sure that you subscribe, and then also share our videos with other people, because for some reason people like to keep us in the back somewhere hidden, and we don't want to be hidden. So because I think we got good information, so the more you share, the more it helps other people find all the stuff we have, so people don't have to ask us all the time about things that we've already done. So yeah, just make sure you do that. And once again, thank you so much for you know, staying with us today.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna leave y'all with now this is our old intro. You know, it kind of brings back memories and everything. Yeah, Damo, you'll definitely remember this. But I want to say peace to everyone, and I want to say our next live show, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my best to reorientate the research question to kind of clean up all the confusion over the past 2 years about this quote unquote Black Egypt stuff. I'm gonna just do my best to reorientate the actual research question, what it is and what it's not, so that people won't be fooled into these straw man arguments and the ghost arguments that have been created, maybe for entertainment purposes. And if that's the case, hey, that's cool. But just to kind of bring it back into focus and bring some seriousness to it, I'm gonna do my best. That's gonna be our next show, and it shouldn't take me long. I'm just gonna go through what the actual research questions actually are and what they're not. All right, so be in tune for that. I want to tentatively say tomorrow. All right, so with that, I'm gonna say peace and Shem Imhotep.